Tonight, we're exploring Pokemon's darkest unsolved conspiracies to fall asleep to. For those of you who've been joining us consistently, I want to thank you for being such an integral part of our channel. If you're falling asleep with us tonight, let me know in the comments how many nights in a row you've been here. And if this is your first night, just comment day 1. Now let's get back to the video. Close your eyes for a moment and try to remember the first time you stepped into the world of Pokemon. Perhaps it was the pixelated greens of Kanto on a small unlit screen, or the vibrant shores of Hoenn. For most of us, those memories are wrapped in the warm, fuzzy blanket of childhood nostalgia. We remember the bond with our starter, the thrill of the evolution screen, and the triumphant music of the Hall of Fame. But as the sun sets on the tall grass and the bright colours of the Pokemon Center fade into the shadows of the night, a different kind of world begins to emerge. It is a world that Game Freak and the Pokemon Company have carefully tucked away behind vague Pokédex entries, silent non-player characters, and eerie, unexplained map locations. This is not the world of friendship and badges. This is a world of unresolved trauma, ancient wars, and spirits that refuse to move on. Tonight, we are stepping away from the competitive ladders and the shiny hunting to look at the cracks in the foundation of this universe. We are diving into the mysteries that have kept fans awake for nearly 30 years. Why does a young boy wear the literal skull of his dead mother? And what happens to the face beneath it that is said to be too tragic to look upon? Where did all the regular animals go? And what does that say about the steaks and burgers served in the local diners? Who was the man who fathered the greatest trainer in history, only to vanish into the fog of 1,000 episodes without a single word? These questions aren't just fan theories born from overactive imaginations. They are the breadcrumbs left behind by developers who knew that true immersion requires a touch of the macabre. From the silent, haunting elevators of Lumiose City to the war-torn memories of a lightning-scarred gym leader in Vermilion City, there is a darkness here that demands to be acknowledged. We're going to explore the tragedies of the old Chateau, where a butler and a little girl still roam the halls, waiting for a cure that arrived decades too late. We will look into the eyes of the strange girl on the bridge in Unova, whose life was cut short by nightmares that even the legendary Cresselia could not soothe. As you settle in and the world around you grows quiet, let these stories wash over you. We are going on a journey through 9 generations of history, from the original 1996 releases to the modern day, seeking the truth behind the ghosts in the machine. We will talk about the gods that were split in two by human greed and the legendary trainers who appeared out of nowhere with teams of mythical beasts, only to vanish forever after claiming victory. This is a deep dive into the side of Pokémon that the bright anime themes try to hide. It is a slow, methodical look at the grief, the science, and the supernatural phenomena that make this world so much more than a children's game. The stakes are higher than you might think. If these conspiracies are true, the Pokémon world isn't a utopia of harmony between humans and nature. It is a world built on the ruins of a massive conflict, where children are sent out into the wild to document creatures that might have once been human themselves. It is a world where the very tools used to capture these creatures are based on technology no one can fully explain, and where the afterlife is just a staircase away in a haunted tower. So, get comfortable. Turn down the lights, let the soft glow of the screen be your only guide as we peel back the layers of this multi-billion-dollar franchise to find the heart of its most enduring enigmas. We are looking for the one that the Ghost Girl is searching for. We are looking for the missing pieces of the GS Ball and the original dragon that once soared over the Unova region. We are looking for answers in a world that prefers to keep its secrets buried in the tall grass. This is the definitive collection of Pokemon's darkest unsolved conspiracies. Let the journey begin. When you first step into the Vermilion City gym in the original Pokemon Red and Blue, Lieutenant Surge sizes you up with an electric grin. his massive frame blocking the path ahead, sparks dancing from the outlets, jutting from his walls. He calls you out, demands proof that you're a real trainer, and unleashes his Raichu in a storm of thunderbolts that light up the dim arena. You battle hard, dodging shocks that could fry a Pikachu on the spot, and when you finally claim victory, he tosses you the Thunder Badge with a booming laugh. But then, almost as an afterthought, he drops it, a single line that hangs in the air like static before a lightning strike. "The war was tough," he says. "My Pokémon got me through it." That word war echoes through the pixelated corridors of Kanto, a place that feels so vibrant on the surface, with kids chasing Rattata in the grass and old folks fishing by the sea. Surge doesn't elaborate. No dates, no enemies, no tales of trenches or battlefields scarred by hyper beams. Just that raw admission from a man whose skin still smells like ozone, whose gym hums with the power of survivors. In the Japanese version, it's even sharper. He served in a conflict so fresh it lingers like gunpowder smoke. And his electric types were the only thing that kept him breathing when the top brass fell. Pikachu's jolts, Voltorb's explosions, they pulled him from the brink, charging his defibrillator heart back to life amid the chaos. You press on through Kanto's routes, from Pallet Town's sleepy fields to Saffron's towering silhouette, but something gnaws at you. Where are the fathers, the brothers, the young men in their prime who should be hauling crates in Celadon, patrolling Viridian Forest, or challenging you to battles on Route 8? Poke around those 8-bit towns, and the population skews strangely. Little girls hand out items in cerulean, grannies gossip in lavender, mums wave from doorsteps in pewter, but adult males, they're ghosts. Oak's lab has no assistants bustling about. The game corner in Celadon runs on sheer luck and shady vibes, no burly guards in sight. Even the police station in Saffron feels understaffed. Just a lone officer murmuring about Team Rocket. Gym leaders stand out as rare exceptions. Brock's a kid, really. Misty's crew is all sisters. But Surge towers like a soldier misplaced in peacetime. Giovanni lurks in shadows with his Persian at his heels. And Koga's ninjas whisper of hidden wars in future. The rest? Old men like the fishermen on Route 12, or sages guarding towers. It's as if Kanto's heart was hollowed out, leaving behind a landscape rebuilt on children's laughter and women's resilience. No bustling barracks, no veterans swapping stories in bars. Just Surge, fiddling with his gadgets, hinting at a storm that swept through not long ago. Fan theories started bubbling up almost immediately after the 1996 launch, piecing together this eerie quiet. What if Kanto isn't some idyllic starter region, but a nation clawing its way out of rubble? Picture the timeline. You begin in Pallet Town, year 1 of your journey. Professor Oak gifts you a Pokémon fresh from the lab, like he's restocking an arsenal for the next wave. Your rival, Gary, that cocky grandson, taunts you from day one. Both of you barely 10, diving headfirst into badges and legendaries, while the world around you rebuilds. Surge calls it a recent war, close enough that his scars still tingle, yet distant enough that kids like you roam free, catching Caterpie without a curfew. Some say it was a human Pokémon conflict, electric types turning the tide when firepower failed, Voltorb blasts shattering enemy lines, Magneton fields scrambling radios, Raichu surges defibrillating the fallen. Others whisper of regional rivalries, Kanto versus some forgotten foe from across the sea, maybe Johto's shadows or Hoenn's depths encroaching. Team Rocket fits right in, not common thugs but war profiteers, peddling stolen Pokémon like contraband weapons. Giovanni, their grizzled general, pulling strings from Viridian Gym's back room. Lavender Tower, that somber spire overlooking the sea. Not just a Pokémon graveyard, but a monument to the human toll. Fresh graves underfoot as you navigate its misty floors. Cubone skulls rattling in the rain. Rewind to the remakes in Fire Red and Leaf Green, 2004. They amp up Surge's grit. Back in the war, we were completely surrounded, he growls, post-battle. It was hopeless, Even when we lost power, my Pokémon restored it. Power grids down, lights flickering out across Kanto's cities. And there he was, Pokémon Jolts bridging the blackout, zapping life back into the grid and his comrades' veins. Yet still, no maps of battlefields, no memorials dotting Route 22. The developers at Game Freak left it dangling, a breadcrumb in a world where Pidgey flock peacefully, and the only explosions come from Geodude self-destructs. This absence shapes everything you touch. Viridian City, once a forest outpost, now boasts a massive mart stocked by invisible hands. Cinnabar Island's mansion, half-burned and lab-riddled, hides Mewtwo's cradle amid war's echoes. Cloning tech born from desperation, are fusing human ambition with Pokémon fury to win at any cost. And you, the silent protagonist, red, mute and determined, badge hunting with a vengeance that feels too honed for a kid's game. Gary mocks your progress, but notice how he evolves too. From brat to a trainer hardened by Silphcurb's corporate siege, his team swelling with wartime utility like Pidgeot Scouts and Arcanine Hounds. The darkest thread pulls it all taut. You and Gary aren't just rivals. You're the first generation raised in true peace, war orphans handed Pokéballs instead of rifles, your innocence a fragile bandage over Kanto's wounds. Oak's Pokémon League? A proving ground for the next defenders, badges forging child soldiers who befriend their weapons. Every route you bike, every cave you torch, rebuilds a fractured land. Surge's Thunder Badge isn't just a trinket, it's his vote of confidence in the kids who'll inherit the storm. That mask of normalcy cracks wider when you consider the Pokémon themselves. Why do so many orphans roam wild, Abra teleporting alone, Cubone weeping under perpetual rain? Kanto's Pokédex brims with survivors, Electric Line's dominant because they powered the comeback. No wonder Pikachu starts your journey. Surge's salvation in starter form. But if Kanto's silence hides such thunder, what other masks conceal the grief? Up next, Chapter 2, The Orphan's Mask, where a lonely Pokémon wears its mother's remains, refusing to face a world without her, and the cries that pierce the storm might be closer to home than you think, as the scars of Kanto's silent war fade into the misty hills around Lavender Town. You stumble upon a Pokémon tower shrouded in perpetual fog, a graveyard where the echoes of loss refuse to quiet. Here, amid the headstones, lurks a creature whose very existence drips with sorrow, a lonely orphan draped in bone, forever hiding its face behind the skull of its dead mother. Cubone doesn't just wear a helmet shaped like a skull. The Pokédex makes it brutally clear. It dons the actual cranium of its mother, a literal mask forged from tragedy. Small bipedal dinosaur-like Pokémon, its body covered in tough, earthy hide, shuffling through the undergrowth with shoulders hunched low. Born into a world without parents, every single Cubone emerges motherless, the female perishing in childbirth or shortly after, leaving her skull as the only inheritance. Or Game Freak etched this horror into the original red and blue entries from 1996. Wears the skull of its deceased mother on its head. No metaphor, no poetic flourish, just cold, evolutionary fact. The bone fuses to its growth, becoming an inseparable part of its form, a perpetual reminder that survival in the Pokémon world demands such grim adaptations. Rain transforms Cubone's quiet whimpers into guttural wails that pierce the night. In Gold and Silver, released 3 years later, the Pokédex notes how these cries grow louder on rainy days, as if the downpour stirs memories of the moment she was lost. You can almost hear it now, that mournful howl cutting through storm-swept plains, drawing trainers like you to its side, not out of curiosity, but pity. The mask's eye sockets, darkened hollows, are bare permanent stains from endless tears. Ruby and Sapphire expand on this, describing how the bone discolors over time from constant weeping. Those brownish-black streaks aren't dirt or battle scars. They're etched by saline rivers, flowing from eyes that never dry. Each drop carries the weight of abandonment, seeping into the porous bone until the mask itself weeps in sympathy. Evolve Cubone into Marowak, and the Bone Club materializes from the same maternal relic, swung with a ferocity born of inherited rage. But peel back the generations of entries and the pattern holds. Fire Red in 2004 warns that attempting to remove the skull, even in sleep, triggers unimaginable trauma. The Pokémon thrashes violently, refusing to let go because glimpsing its true face would shatter its fragile identity. What horrors lie beneath? Fans have pored over pixel art and rare sprites for decades, speculating a raw, exposed visage, perhaps skinless muscle, elongated snout without bone support, eyes too large and vulnerable for the world, or worse, a face mirroring the mother's final agonized expression, imprinted in flesh. The shattering isn't hyperbole, it's existential collapse. Without the mask, Cubone ceases to be Cubone, reduced to a nameless, faceless thing, identity dissolved like bone in acid. This bone-clad orphan finds its darkest echo in Lavender Town's Pokémon Tower, where the ghost of a Marowak haunts the top floor, blocking your path until you prove your worth. In the original games, Team Rocket slaughters her to harvest the skull for smuggling, leaving her spirit bound to vengeance. She manifests as an ethereal Marowak, his skull still intact but body translucent, swinging her club through grunts without mercy. Defeat her, and the ghost vanishes, but only after whispering eternal unrest. That Marowak was a mother, her Cubone a child, orphaned in the wild, crying out from the tower's base. The connection runs deeper. Catch a Cubone there, and its mask gleams unnaturally, as if infused with the same spectral energy. Lavender Town's fog seems to nurture these lost souls, where maternal bones become weapons against the living. Generations later, in Sword and Shield, Gigantamax Marowak channels this pain into colossal fury, the skull expanding to eclipse battlefields. Yet the core remains unchanged. All Cubone, motherless by design, their biology a cycle of birth and bereavement. Why evolve this way? Perhaps in prehistoric times, a skull-wearing, protected, vulnerable young from predators, turning grief into armor. Or it's a parasitic adaptation, where the infant feeds on the mother's remains to survive those first brutal hours. The stains deepen with age, a barometer of suffering. Battle-worn veterans show the darkest hues, tears compounded over years of solitude. Whispers persist of rare, bare-faced Cubone sightings in fan mods and glitch hunts, creatures driven mad post-evolution failure, faces peeled back in perpetual scream. Their cries don't echo, they implode, drawing ghastly swarms, like moths to a wound. In the anime, a Cubone adopts a nursery rhyme melody to its sobs, masking pain with innocence, until rain reveals the truth. Always the rain, washing away illusions, exposing the orphan's raw underbelly. These masks hide more than faces. They conceal a Pokémon society fractured by loss, where every bone club cracks with unspoken fury. As you linger in Lavender Town's shadow, the tower's chill seeps into your bones, urging you toward greater mysteries, like the eerie syndrome that gripped children, playing those original cartridges right here, tones that twisted minds and summoned spirits beyond Marowak's grudge. What secrets does Lavender Town syndrome hold that even Game Freak buried? Those perpetual tears staining Cubone's skull mask weren't just a fleeting tragedy. They echoed into the shadowed corners of Kanto, where orphaned Pokémon, like them, found their final rest. Lavender Town emerged in the original Japanese releases of Pokémon Red and Green back in 1996 as more than a quiet hamlet. It was the franchise's first true brush with mortality. Crowned by the Pokémon Tower, a looming spire stacked with graves for the departed. You step into that tower and the air thickens immediately. Flickering candlelight casts long shadows on marble slabs etched with names no child trainer wants to read. Ghastly drift through walls, their gaseous forms whispering taunts, while wild Pokémon, Marowak skulls clattering, invisible haunters giggling, guard the upper floors like vengeful sentinels. This wasn't the vibrant gyms or sunny routes you'd battled through before. Lavender Town dragged you into a mausoleum, forcing you to confront the deaths your Pokéballs had racked up along the way. Game Freak shattered expectations right there. Up to that point, Pokémon felt like pure escapism. Catching critters, evolving friends, conquering badges in a world of endless summer. But the tower flipped it. Or you couldn't bulldoze past ghosts with a hasty retreat. You had to earn Sylph scope from a murdered man's questline just to reveal the spectral foes hiding in plain sight. That shift etched horror into the series' DNA, turning adventure into something haunted, where victory tasted like ash, because every fainted Pokémon might end up here, buried under Lavender's perpetual fog. Whispers started almost immediately after the Japanese launch. Parents reported their kids, mostly aged 7 to 12, clutching Game Boys in the dead of night, pale and sweating from headaches, nausea, even vivid nightmares of suffocating in graves. They called it Lavender Town syndrome. Forums in Japan lit up with stories, children screaming awake, convinced the tower's music burrowed into their brains. Some claimed seizures. A handful of suicides got rumoured, though never verified. Nintendo stayed silent at first, but by the international releases, a year later, something changed. The music itself. That original chiptune track, composed for the Game Boy's primitive speaker, hummed at frequencies no one anticipated. Audio analysts later dissected it, piercing tones around 4 kHz, spiking into ultrasonic ranges that the tiny hardware strained to produce. For young ears, more sensitive to high pitches, it grated like nails on glass, sustained drones evoking distant wails, layered with dissonant arpeggios that mimicked funeral dirges. Play it slowed down today, and chills ripple through. Headphones amplify the unease, as if the sound designer wove actual grief into the code. Nintendo reworked it for yellow and foreign versions, softening those edges, muting the menace. But the damage lingered in ROM dumps and fan recreations. A ghost note players chase even now. Deeper glitches fueled the panic. Midway up the tower, under specific conditions, glitchy save states, or manipulated RAM, some reported a white hand sprite flickering on screen. Not the standard ghosts, this was a pale, elongated handprint hovering amid the static, gone in frames. ROM hackers confirmed it, unused data, perhaps a debug asset or cut enemy, triggered by Lavender's eerie palette swaps. It grabs your peripheral vision, vanishes when you turn, leaving you questioning if your Game Boy betrayed you. Conspiracy threads exploded. Was it a curse coded in? A signal to sensitive kids that Pokémon hid real darkness? The syndrome snowballed into creepypasta legend, but its roots gripped something primal. Japanese urban folklore already swirled around Game Boys, causing electronic hauntings, portable devices channeling yokai through pixels. Lavender Town tapped that vein, blending it with the graveyard's lore. Why build a tower for Pokémon funerals in a kid's game? Pokédex entries hinted at souls lingering, ghastly born from human negativity. Cubone mourning eternally. It made death tangible, no euphemisms. To just graves you climb, spirits you exercise for progress. That psychological pivot reshaped the franchise. Future regions echoed it with Ecruteak's bell tower phantoms, Sinnoh's old Chateau wraiths, Unova's strange house echoes. Lavender wasn't anomaly, it birthed Pokémon's spectral underbelly. Fan dissections keep unearthing layers. Spectral analyses of the OST reveal binaural pulses mimicking infrasound, the kind that triggers dread in haunted house experiments. Kids in 1996, glued to dim screens late at night, absorbed it raw, no parental controls, no volume limits. Reports peaked around Halloween that year, correlating with tower grinding sessions. Nintendo's patch quelled it, but the tower endured as lore cornerstone. Mr. Fuji at the summit, overlooking petrified remains, murmurs about letting go. It forced players to reckon with loss, mirroring how Cubone's mask hides unbreakable sorrow. That graveyard's shadow stretched far, imprinting on every ghostly encounter since, reminding us Pokémon weren't invincible pets, but fragile lives extinguished too soon. And as you puzzle over those silenced spirits in Lavender's Heights, a rival's shadowed absence tugs at the edges of memory, one that hits even closer during that very tower climb. Next, in Chapter 4, Gary's missing companion, we unravel what vanished from his team amid those graves, and why it shattered his smug grin forever. As those chilling frequencies of Lavender Town linger in your mind, and the ghostly white hand sprite fades from the Game Boy screen, you push open the creaking doors of the Pokémon Tower itself. There, yet amid the swirling mist and the faint cries echoing off forgotten gravestones, stands Gary, your rival, Professor Oak's own grandson, utterly alone in the heart of this sprawling graveyard for fallen Pokémon. You remember him brash and boastful, just days before, strutting across the deck of the SS Anne with his team at full strength. That luxury liner docked in Vermilion City had been your fiercest clash yet. Gary's squad back then packed real punch, his Pidgeotto slicing through the air, but it was Raticate that led the charge, that scrappy rodent evolved from the Rattata he'd taunted you with since Pallet Town. Level 20, fangs bared, eyes burning with the same fire as its trainer. You beat him there, handed him his toughest loss on that salty ocean breeze, watching his Pokémon slump one by one. He stormed off in a huff, muttering about getting stronger, his parting shot laced with that signature oak arrogance. But now, here in the dim glow of Lavender Tower's upper floors, something's profoundly wrong. Gary's not battling ghosts or scouting badges. He's just standing there, motionless, staring at the floor, as if the weight of the world settled on his shoulders, overnight. No entourage, no smirking entourage of cheerleaders from his fan club. Just him, isolated in the epicenter of Death's domain, surrounded by the tombstones of Pokémon who never came home from their last fight. Climb those haunted stairs with me, floor by floor, and feel the shift hit you. You've got the Sylph scope now, piercing the illusions of the ghostly Marowak or ghastly swarms. But Gary? He's not here for them. His team tells the tale his lips won't. Fire up that Game Boy again, boot up Red or Blue from 1996, and challenge him right there on the 5th floor. Pidgeot swoops in at level 25, fiercer and faster than before. Growlithe snarls beside it, flames flickering in the gloom. But Raticate vanished. No trace of that loyal Raticate that carried him through the cruise ship's chaos. Whispers among trainers spread like fog through the tower. Your victory on the SS Anne broke something in Gary's lineup. Raticate pushed too hard in that defeat, took blows it couldn't shake off. Pokémon faint in battle, sure. They're whisked away to some centre for revival. But out at sea, miles from help, with Gary too proud to forfeit, theories swirl darker. Did Raticate collapse for good, its body left behind on that drifting ship as it sailed away? Or worse, did Gary, in his rage, abandon it to the waves, only to regret it when the reality sank in? Picture the sequence, beat by beat, as the games unfold it so subtly, it chills. Post-SS Anne, Gary vanishes from the map. No sightings in Cerulean, no taunts in Rock Tunnel. He resurfaces only here, in Lavender's mausoleum, his team restructured overnight. Raticate scrubbed clean from the roster, swapped for Growlithe and, depending on your version, Gyarados rearing up from the depths, a serpentine fury that screams overcompensation. That's 6 slots, but one glaring void where his starter rodent should be. Fans poured over the code, the data from those original cartridges. Raticate never returns. Not in Sylph Company, not on Victory Road, not even in the Elite Four Shadow. It's gone, erased like a ghost. And Gary, standing solitary amid the graves? Yeah, he's not praying for badges or plotting revenge. He's mourning. The tower's lore drips with it. This is where trainers lay their partners to rest, where Cubone skulls weep and Haunter lure the lost. Gary's presence screams personal loss. Your win triggered this. He poured everything into that SSN showdown, Raticate at the forefront, and when it fell, perhaps fatally, his world cracked. No 10-year-old handles that lightly. Isolation in the graveyard becomes his vigil, a silent accusation hanging in the pixelated air as he finally turns to you, voice edged with uncharacteristic bitterness. That bitterness festers, you see it evolve. From cocky rival to relentless pursuer, every badge you claim, every gym crushed he mirrors, but haunted. Sylph Company rematch, his team's bloated with power, yet that hole remains. Victory Road, he's a machine but the spark's dimmed. Hall of Fame, he trails you still, but the taunts ring hollow. Fast forward through gold and silver crystal, Gary sheds the trainer life, returns to pallet humbled, no champion dreams left. Instead, he buries himself in research, chasing his grandfather's shadow as a Pokémon professor by the time Heart Gold and Soul Silver roll around. This loss on the SSN, it forges him. Raticate's absence isn't just a team swap, it's the death that matures him, turns rivalry into respect, bravado into brilliance. He confronts you one last time on Route 22, not to battle, but to admit it. Smell you later evolves into wisdom. Your blade cut deep, claimed a life in the process, and from those ashes rises Professor Gary Oak, forever changed. But rivalries like this hide even murkier transformations, where humans don't just lose Pokémon, they become them. Stick around for Chapter 5, the human Pokémon transmutation, where a certain psychic spoonbender hints at experiments that blur the line between trainer and monster forever. Standing alone in the shadowed heights of Pokémon Tower, Gary stares into the void left by his lost Raticate, a companion vanished without trace amid the graves of forgotten Pokémon. But what if that emptiness hid something far more profane, not just death, but a twisting of flesh and soul into something unrecognizable? What if the line between trainer and Pokémon wasn't a boundary at all, but a fragile veil waiting to tear? Deep in the Pokédex entries of the original games, Kadabra emerges not as a mere evolution from Abra, but as the remnants of a human boy. And one entry lays it bare, a child who went to sleep as himself, only to awaken the next morning with his body warped, his mind fractured into a psychic monstrosity. His spoon, once a child's toy, now bent by raw telekinetic fury, clutched in a hand that's no longer quite human. Imagine the terror of that first stir, eyes snapping open to find your limbs elongated, your skin toughened into something alien, your thoughts exploding outward in waves that shatter glass and bend metal. The boy screams, but the sound warps into Kadabra's guttural cry, echoing through a world that no longer sees him as one of its own. You can feel the dread settling in, can't you? This isn't some distant myth. It's etched into the core data of Red and Blue, released back in 1996, where Game Freak whispered horrors they never fully explained. Why a boy? Why this specific fate? The Pokédex doesn't soften it. It revels in the ambiguity, hinting at forces beyond natural evolution. Abra sleeps 20 hours a day, lulling prey into stupor before the change. But for this boy, sleep became the catalyst for oblivion. Did he eat something tainted, inhale fumes from a hidden lab? Or was it the work of meddlers who saw humans as raw material for their ambitions? That trail leads straight to Cinnabar Island, the scorched heart of Kanto's darkest secrets. You remember the Pokémon mansion there? Gutted by fire, its halls littered with diaries confessing unspeakable experiments. Researchers pushed boundaries, fusing DNA in pursuit of power, their notes frantic with breakthroughs and breakdowns. Mewtwo, they scribbled, the ultimate clone born from genetic alchemy. But what if Kadabra was no accident, no isolated curse? What if those labs tested on more than Pokémon, on children snatched from Cinnabar's shores, boys exposed to serums that rewrote their very essence? The island's volcano looms eternal, ash still falling like a shroud over the ruins. as if the earth itself mourns the abominations birthed below. Poke around the remnants, and the connections deepen. One diary mentions psychic amplification devices, spoons twisted by test subjects' rage. Sound familiar? Kadabra's signature weapon, pulsing with alpha waves that fry brains and induce comas. Trainers who battle them report headaches lingering for days, a psychic residue that blurs their own thoughts. Is that the boy's vengeful echo reaching out from his monstrous form? Cinnabar wasn't just a lab, it was a graveyard of half-formed hybrids. Bodies discarded in the blaze to hide the truth. Game Freak left the fire unexplained. The researchers vanished, but the Pokédex screams their crime through every Kadabra you encounter. And it's not isolated to one entry. The early games blur human consciousness and Pokémon biology in ways that unsettle to this day. Abra lines doze in doorways, their spoons glinting like surgical tools. Evolve them, and you wield a piece of that boy's nightmare. Hypno lurks nearby in the lore, swinging pendulums to kidnap children, dragging them to lairs for what? Training? Consumption? Or transformation? The Pokédex ties them together, psychic predators preying on the young, reshaping them into their own kind. In the anime, you see flickers, kids vanishing into the night, only eerie Pokémon left in their wake. Generation 1 didn't shy away. It revelled in the implication that humans and Pokémon share too much biology, too close a thread. Consider Bill, the storage system genius from Cerulean City. You meet him in his cottage, frantic after a teleporter accident. He confesses it plainly. Experimenting with his PC tech, he merged with a Pokémon during transport. Flesh-fused, form distorted, he became a hybrid abomination, scampering on all fours, his humanity reduced to panicked squeaks. You hand him an antidote, watch him reform, but the damage lingers in his voice, shaky with the memory. Never again, he vows, yet he perfects the system anyway, miniaturizing creatures into digital limbo. If Bill, a brilliant adult, could slip so easily into Pokémon shape, what chance did a boy have against Cinnabar's vats? This accident isn't a glitch, it's a hint, a breadcrumb to the ease of biological merging. Early games overflow with it. The ditto in Cinnabar's basement, shape-shifting into anything, even trainers if rumours hold. Failed experiments? The copycat girl, mimicking your every move, her mansion, a shrine to lost identity. Lavender Tower itself, where Gary mourns, hums with spirits refusing their end. Perhaps some were human once, twisted beyond recognition. Game Freak coded these threads loosely, letting players connect the dots across Kanto's map. Teleporters litter the routes, humming with unstable energy. Step wrong, and you join Kadabra's ranks, your Pokédex entry, the only epitaph. The horror compounds when you trace Abra's lineage backward. They spawn in urban shadows, drawn to human settlements. Why? To hunt minds ripe for change. Rainy nights amplify it. Cubone weeps louder then, as we explored before, but Kadabra's spoon drips with psychokinetic sweat, warping reality further. Trainers capture them casually, blind to the soul trapped inside. Does the boy recognize you as he once was, spoon twitching in futile rage? Or has the merge erased him, leaving only instinct? Cinnabar ties it all. Mewtwo's rage-fueled escape, the mansion's blaze covering tracks. Diaries hint at human trials before the fire, subjects numbered like Abra stock. One entry, Subject 12 showed psychic spikes post-exposure, spoon integration successful. Burned pages, but the implication scorches. Game Freak never revisited it fully. Not in remakes, not in anime arcs. Fire Red and Leaf Green expand the mansion slightly, adding ghosts and fossils, but the core rot festers untouched. Why? To let us stew in the possibility that any Abra you teleport could harbour a child's plea. Bill's system makes it insidious. Store your Kadabra, and it sits in digital stasis, perhaps plotting alongside digitised humans from failed merges. The PC's glow, hides atrocities, millions of Pokémon, maybe more, compressed into code. What if Cinnabar's rejects fill those boxes, waiting for release? Early glitches reinforce it. Missing no spawning from bad data, hybrids of bird and glitch, echoing the teleporter mishaps. You feel it now, don't you? The fragility of your place in this world. Train a Kadabra, bend its spoon in battle, and you're complicit in the boy's eternal curse. Cinnabar's volcano rumbles still, a reminder that experiments never truly end. Game Freak buried the truth under layers of whimsy, but it pulses in every alpha wave. But if flesh can twist into Pokémon forms so readily, what haunts the spaces in between, where souls linger, unseen, whispering from elevators that go nowhere? Up next, the ghost in the elevator will chill you to your core, while the unethical experiments on Cinnabar Island twisted human boys into psychic abominations like Kadabra. The pristine streets of Lumiose City in Kalos conceal a far more elusive horror, one that slips through steel doors and lingers in the flicker of elevator lights. You step into that unassuming lift in the heart of the city, the kind tucked away in a towering hotel where trainers pause to rest after battling Prism Tower's elite. The doors grind shut with a mechanical hum, and as the car begins its ascent, she materializes right there beside you. Not with a flash or a cry, but silently, her form coalescing from the shadows like mist drawn from the walls themselves. She's a young girl dressed in a simple white gown that seems too pure for the dim confines of the elevator, her long dark hair framing a face pale as moonlight. Her eyes lock onto yours, unblinking, and she speaks in a voice soft yet piercing. You're not the one. The words hang in the air, chilling the blood in your veins before you can even process them. She doesn't wait for a reply. Instead, she turns and walks toward the doors, walks with an animation so unnaturally stiff, her feet barely skimming the floor, gliding more than stepping, as if gravity has forgotten her entirely. The elevator dings, doors part, and she steps out into the hallway beyond, vanishing the instant her form crosses the threshold. You chase after her, heart pounding, but the corridor stretches empty, silent, mocking your haste. No footprints, no echo of footsteps, just the faint scent of something floral, like wilted lilies left too long in a vase. This isn't some glitch or forgotten NPC. Players worldwide reported the encounter in Pokémon X and Y back in 2013, sharing footage of her eerie glide, that phrase etched into forums and wikis overnight. Game Freak never acknowledged her officially, leaving her as a phantom embedded in the code, appearing only under specific conditions, often at night or after certain story progressions that align with Kalos's buried tragedies. But why that message? You're not the one. The one for what? To witness her? To free her? Or to join her in whatever unfinished business binds her to this world? Her story doesn't end in Lumiose. Fast forward to 2014, and she re-emerges in the remakes of Ruby and Sapphire, Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, but not in Kalos. No, she haunts Mount Pyre, the solemn cemetery in Hoenn, where the dead are enshrined in eternal flames atop a misty peak. There, amid graves marked by weathered stones and the distant cries of grieving relatives, she appears again on the summit path. Same white dress, same gliding walk, same whisper. You're not the one. Players climb those fog-shrouded stairs, paying respects to the Pokémon spirits interred there, only to find her blocking the way. Her presence, a stark intrusion from another region entirely. Mount Pyre isn't just any graveyard. It's a place of restless souls, where the veil between life and afterlife thins under Hoenn's perpetual drizzle. The elderly couple at the top, guardians of the sacred fire, speak of loss and remembrance, but after you leave and return, the grandmother vanishes, her spirit communing with Elite Four Phoebe, who senses the unrest. Now this girl from Kalos invades that sanctity. Her model rips straight from X and Y's files, model number 1634 if you dig into the data. Why Hoenn? Why tether her to a Hoenn burial ground when her origin screams Kalos? Theories swirl like the ghosts themselves. Some point to the Kalos War, that unspoken cataclysm etched into the region's lore. Az, the ancient king whose floet sparked a 1,000-year conflict, waged a war so devastating it birthed the ultimate weapon. A machine that vaporized armies and Pokémon alike, leaving Yveltal to feast on the life force of the fallen. Lumiose City, built atop those ruins, he pulses with that hidden history, its pristine boulevards funded by the king's eternal grief. Is she a victim of that war? A child caught in the blast, searching eternally for the one, perhaps Az himself, the grieving father who lost his own daughter to the violence he unleashed? Others speculate she's linked to the fairy types introduced in Generation 6, those deceptive sprites born from light and illusion, or even Lissandra's obsession with beauty-masking decay. Her unnatural walk mimics the stiff animations of early ghosts like Gengar, but smoother, more deliberate, as if coded to unsettle on purpose. Delta miners found no dialogue trees, or event flags explaining her. She exists in a limbo, triggered randomly, her phrase hard-coded without context. Absent from Sun and Moon in 2016, she faded like a memory, only to resurface in fan dissections and horror playthroughs. Who is the one she seeks? A specific trainer fulfilling some prophecy? The player character in a doomed timeline? Or you, listening now, wondering if you've crossed her path in your own saves? Her connection to the Kalos War deepens the riddle. Did the ultimate weapon's light claim her family, leaving her to wander elevators and graves, mistaking every stranger for her lost kin? No developer interview, no art book page resolves it. She drifts unresolved, a digital spectre reminding us that Pokemon's brightest cities harbour the darkest echoes. And as these Kalos phantoms fade into the code's recesses, another enigma from Johto's golden glow awaits, one that promised time travel and legend, only to vanish into eternal silence. Up next, Chapter 7. The GS Ball's Eternal Silence. That ghost girl's fading footsteps in the Lumiose elevator still haunt the shadows of Kalos. Her plea of, "You're not the one," hanging like an unsolved riddle. But shift your gaze back to the misty forests of Johto, where another enigma gleams in gold. A Pokéball unlike any other, handed to Ash by a cloaked stranger at the edge of time itself. It starts in the heart of the Johto journey, during those episodes where the air thickens with ancient forest whispers. Ash and his friends stumble upon a legendary shrine in Ilex Forest, guarded by unseen forces. A mysterious figure, shrouded in darkness, emerges from the undergrowth and presses this radiant GS ball into Ash's hands. Not your standard red and white sphere, no. This one's etched in shimmering gold. Pulsing with an otherworldly light that defies explanation, the stranger vanishes as quickly as they appeared, leaving Ash with a command: take it to Kurt, the Pokéball craftsman in Azalea Town. Kurt, that eccentric old inventor, tucked away in his cluttered home, examines the ball with wide-eyed wonder. He recognizes its rarity immediately. Crafted from the crystallized apricorns of the GS variety, but infused with something far more profound. He tells Ash it needs time to process, days turning into weeks, as strange energies swirl within his workshop. Fans watching back in 1998 held their breath, sensing this was no ordinary fetch quest. The GS ball felt alive, humming with secrets that could unravel the fabric of Pokémon history. Yet as the episodes rolled on, the ball's glow dimmed in the narrative. Kurt finally completes his work, but instead of unleashing whatever power lay inside, he simply stores it. Tucked away on a high shelf in his house, surrounded by jars of swirling apricorn dyes and half-finished Pokéballs, the GS ball sits, forgotten. Never opened, never used, never even mentioned again after the Johto saga wraps up. By the time Ash crosses into Hoenn, It's as if the golden orb evaporated from the script entirely, gathering dust in Kurt's home, like a relic from a dream abandoned mid-sentence. Why bury it there, in that unassuming house amid the slowpoke well's echoes? The truth lies in the writer's room at the time, where grand plans collided with corporate shifts. Originally, the GS Ball was the vessel for Celebi, the time-travelling mythical Pokémon, a forest guardian who bends timelines like willow branches. Ash's quest was meant to culminate in summoning Celebi right there in Ilex Forest, the ball cracking open to reveal the little psychic fairy in a burst of temporal light. Picture it, Celebi emerging, zipping through eras, tying Johto's lore to the game's hidden shrines, and whispers of unseen travellers. But then came the movies. Pokémon 4, released in 2001, stole the spotlight. Titled Celebi, Voice of the Forest, it snatched Celebi from the anime's main storyline, wrapping the mythical in its own cinematic adventure with Sammy, a boy from Ash's grandfather's era. The Pokémon Company wanted no overlaps, no diluted debuts, so the GS Balls arc got axed mid-season. Writers at OLM and Creatures Incorporated scrambled, leaving the ball sealed as a nod to what could have been, a dangling thread for eagle-eyed fans. Kurt's house became its tomb, a quiet exile where it lingers even today in remastered episodes, mocking us from pixelated shelves. The silence grew eternal. By 2008, as the Diamond and Pearl saga dominated, no callbacks, no explanations. Ash never returns for it. Pikachu doesn't spark curiously at its shine. It's the anime's most infamous dropped plot, a golden ghost in the machine of storytelling, fueling forums and theory videos for decades. Of course, that void invites speculation, and fans have filled it with shadows darker than any forest shrine. One theory paints the GS Ball as a portal to another timeline, a rift punched through by Celebi's meddling. Remember how the stranger handed it over? Some say that's not a human figure, but an echo from a parallel Johto, where Team Rocket won, or Ash never left Pallet Town. The ball's gold hue matches the Elex Shrine's aura, suggesting it's a one-way door to lost eras. Perhaps Gary's Raticate lingers there, or the Lumiose Ghost Girl waits on the other side, forever seeking the One. Others delve deeper, whispering of primordial deities trapped within. Not just Lullaby, but something older, a pre-creation entity akin to the creation trio's forgotten sibling. The ball's unopenable nature hints at containment for a being too vast for our world, its energy too chaotic. Kurt's hesitation to release it, self-preservation. In fan dissections, the apricorns weren't just crystallized, they were fused with essence from the distortion world, or even Arceus's own plate, explaining the perpetual glow. Crack it open and timelines fracture. Pokémon Tower ghosts spill into the living world. Cubone's eternal reign becomes global. These ideas thrive because the silence demands them. Replay the episodes and you'll catch the subtle dread. The way light refracts unnaturally off the ball's surface, or how Kurt's slowpokes gaze at it warily, tails drooping. It's no accident. The writers left it there as a meta-conspiracy, a reminder that Pokémon's universe devours its own mysteries. And as we leave Kurt's shelf behind, those dimming workshop lights lead us straight into the crumbling halls of Eterna Forest, where nightmares cling to velvet curtains and feathered wings. Up next, Chapter 8, The Nightmare at Old Chateau. While the GS Ball gathered dust in Kurt's house, forgotten by the world of Johto, a far more sinister abandonment haunted the misty depths of Sinnoh's Eterna Forest. Tucked away in Pokémon Diamond and Pearl, the old chateau stands as a crumbling relic, its ivy-choked walls whispering secrets of tragedy that no trainer dares linger on after dusk. You push through the dense canopy of Eterna Forest, where sunlight fractures into eerie shafts, casting long shadows that twist like restless spirits. The air hangs heavy with the scent of damp moss and decay, and locals warn you to steer clear of the old manor at night. But curiosity pulls you closer, until the silhouette of the old chateau emerges, its windows like hollow eyes staring back. Boards creak underfoot as you step inside, the floor littered with shattered porcelain and faded tapestries. Dust motes dance in the faint light, and then, without warning, the flickering begins. At first, it's just a shadow in the corner of the dining hall, a translucent figure in a crisp butler uniform, gliding silently toward an empty table. He sets down an invisible teapot, paws for chairs that hold no one, his movements precise, mechanical, as if trapped in an endless loop of service. You blink, and he's gone, only to reappear moments later in the kitchen, polishing silverware that gleams unnaturally in the gloom. His face bears no expression, but his eyes. They lock onto yours for a split second, flickering like a faulty hologram before vanishing into ether. Not far behind him drifts the little girl, her dress a pale smudge against the darkened halls. She hovers near the parlour, peering out from behind ornate furniture, her form stuttering in and out of existence. Sometimes she giggles softly, a sound like wind chimes in a storm, beckoning you with tiny hands. Other times, she simply stands, just staring at the floor, where crumbs from some long-lost cake might have fallen. These aren't random glitches in the game's code. They're deliberate echoes, ghosts bound to the chateau by unfinished business, replaying their final moments in an eternal flickering torment. Venturing deeper, you notice the portraits lining the walls, stern family ancestors in gilded frames, their painted eyes shifting ever so slightly as you pass. It's no optical illusion. Those gazes track your every step, pupils dilating in the dim light, as if the canvases themselves are alive, judging the intruder who dares disturb their vigil. One depicts a prosperous lord of the manor, his expression frozen in mid-snarl. Another shows children at play, but the girl's face among them matches the ghost perfectly, her smile too wide, too knowing. These aren't mere decorations, they're silent witnesses, their moving eyes piecing together a tale of slow unravelling, where prosperity curdled into madness within these very walls. Scattered books offer the first clues, their pages yellowed and brittle, recounting nights when sleep turned to terror. Residents spoke of relentless nightmares, visions of drowning in shadows, of loved ones twisting into monsters that left them hollow-eyed and raving by dawn. Servants quit in droves, fleeing tales of the butler muttering about the darkness that feeds. Then came the deaths, unexplained collapses in the night, bodies found clutching bedsheets soaked in sweat, faces contorted in eternal scream. The family physician documented it all, labelling it the nightmare plague, a curse that seeped from the forest itself. What twisted force could wield such power? Turn the page and the truth glimmers through faded ink. The tomes reference ancient Sinnoh legends of a pitch-black Pokémon lurking in New Moon Island's ruins, a being born from negative dreams made flesh. Darkrai, they call it, the nightmare Pokémon, whose gaze plunges victims into unrelenting horrors, blurring the line between slumber and insanity. The chateau's downfall mirrors its influence perfectly. The butler's final shift, serving tea to hallucinated guests amid his own unravelling mind. The household gripped by collective delirium, turning brother against brother in fits of paranoia. But the heart of the tragedy beats in the little girl's story. Diaries tucked in a hidden drawer reveal her as the manor's youngest heir, a frail child plagued worst by the nightmares. Fevers racked her tiny frame, visions of endless voids where her toys came alive to devour her whole. Desperate, her parents scoured Sinnoh's myths for salvation, latching onto whispers of the lunar wing, a shimmering feather from Cresselia, Darkrai's eternal foe, said to dispel any nightmare with its radiant light. They dispatched servants to Full Moon Island, braving treacherous seas under moonless skies, but the island's guardian proved elusive, its shores guarded by tempests and illusions. Expedition after expedition returned empty-handed, morale shattering like the chateau's fine china. The girl worsened, her cries echoing through the halls until one stormy night, silence fell. Found pale and still in her bed, clutching a wilted flower, she became the mana's final victim, the nightmare plague claiming its purest soul. Her parents, a broken, abandoned the estate overnight, leaving the ghost to flicker in perpetuity, a warning etched into the very architecture. Darkrai's shadow looms largest here, its presence felt not in battles won or legendaries caught, but in the quiet horror of lives extinguished by invisible dread. Why does it haunt this specific corner of Eterna Forest? Does the Chateau sit atop some rift where bad dreams bleed into reality, feeding the entity below? The portrait's watchful eyes suggest more. Perhaps the family dabbled in forbidden rituals, summoning the darkness unwittingly. Their painted stares now a perpetual accusation. As you exit into the forest's chill embrace, the ghost's flickers linger in your periphery, a reminder that some Pokémon lore devours the unwary. The nightmare sickness didn't end with the Chateau's fall. In its tendrils stretch to forgotten corners of Unova, pulling us toward Chapter 9. The strange house and the lunar wing, where another child's pleas for that very feather unravel an even deeper abyss. Before we dive deeper into this incredible journey, I'm curious, where in the world are you watching this from? Drop a comment below and let our global community know. And if you're finding this as mind-blowing as I am, hit that like button to help more people discover this story. Darkrai's grip on the minds of Sinnoh's lost souls reached far beyond Eterna Forest, its tendrils weaving into the fabric of other regions where innocence met unending night. In Unova, along the misty shores of Route 13, just before the glittering waves of Undella Bay crash against the cliffs, stands a forgotten relic, a two-story house perched alone on the hillside, its windows dark and unblinking, earning whispers among locals as the strange house. You approach it on foot, the wind carrying the faint, eerie hum of something unnatural. Outside its weathered door, every Friday without fail, a driftloon drifts lazily in the air, its balloon-like body bobbing like a forsaken party favour. But don't let its whimsical shape fool you. The Pokédex warns of its grim reputation. Dryfloon preys on the curiosity of children, slipping under doorways or through cracked windows to spirit them away, straight to the afterlife, some say, tugging lost young souls into the void where they vanish forever. Trainers who've caught one speak of its hollow gaze as if it's forever searching for one more passenger to ferry across that final threshold. Push open the creaking door of the strange house, and the air thickens with an oppressive quiet, broken only by the soft patter of your footsteps on warped wooden floors. A little girl materializes before you, her form flickering like a faulty hologram, dressed in simple clothes from a bygone era. She turns slowly, her voice a fragile whisper that echoes unnaturally. My dad will be home soon. She speaks of waiting patiently, day after day, for her father to return from his long journey abroad. He promised he'd come back, she insists, with stories of far-off lands and treasures to share. But the house feels wrong from the start. Head upstairs and suddenly you're in what should be the ground floor parlour. Climb down again and the layout flips once more, trapping you in an endless loop of inverted rooms, staircases leading nowhere, if furniture shifting like memories half remembered. This isn't just a glitch in the game, it's a deliberate descent into her world. Dive deeper and her words unravel the tragedy stitched into Unova's hidden lore. The girl waited faithfully for her father, who left years ago on some unspoken voyage, perhaps chasing dreams or fleeing debts, leaving her alone in this isolated home. Days turned to weeks, then months, her hope fading as the sea winds howled outside. She grew frail, her body wasting away while her mind clung to that single promise. In the end, she slipped away right there, curled up by the window, overlooking the bay, eyes fixed on the horizon, for a ship that never sailed back. Death claimed her, but her spirit lingered, replaying that eternal vigil in a nightmare she couldn't wake from. And those nightmares? Chew, they pulse with the same dark essence we traced back to Darkrai. The strange house isn't merely haunted, it's a liminal space, a fragile bridge straddling the world of the living and the elusive dream world introduced in Black and White. Remember how that online realm, accessed through special islands, twisted reality with sleep-soaked puzzles and shadowy encounters? The house mirrors it perfectly. Flaws that defy physics, a girl bound to repeat her longing, pulling unwitting visitors into her recursive torment. Theories abound among fans. Perhaps Darkrai itself haunts these shores, seeding bad dreams that blur the veil between wakefulness and oblivion. Or maybe it's the work of Hypno, that pendulum-swinging Pokémon notorious for luring lonely children into hypnotic illusions, trapping them in fabricated realities until their will erodes completely. Interact with her long enough, and the truth crystallizes like ice on a winter sea. You're not speaking to a living child, nor even a simple ghost adrift in the ether. No, you're conversing with a soul ensnared in an unbreakable loop, a recursive nightmare where time folds back on itself, her father's return, forever just out of reach. Each flip of the house resets the cycle, her hope reigniting only to gutter out again, dooming her to isolation eternal. The Dryfloon outside isn't a random spawn, it's her would-be guide, hovering patiently, waiting for her to finally accept passage to whatever lies beyond. But she refuses, tethered by that unfulfilled promise. Her presence a poignant reminder of Unova's undercurrent of loss amid its gleaming skyscrapers and championship dreams. Whispers persist that a lunar wing, that radiant feather from Cresselia we encountered in the old chateau, could pierce this gloom, its legendary power to dispel Darkrai's curses, offering solace to nightmare-plagued hearts. Yet no such remedy appears here. The house remains untouched, its inhabitant forever waiting. Players who've lingered too long report a chill that seeps into their saves, battles inside turning inexplicably harder, shadows lingering in the corners of their screens. Is the strange house pulling pieces of our world into hers, or are we the intruders, stumbling into a pocket of the dream world bleeding into reality? The fractures in Unova's foundations grow only more profound from here, especially when you unearth the ancient schism that birthed its most cataclysmic legends. A tale of brothers divided and a dragon torn asunder, waiting for you in the original dragon's fracture. And yet, in the shadowed corners of that same Unova region, where lost children whisper to Dryfloon under stormy skies, lies a myth far older and more cataclysmic, a tale of a single, colossal dragon whose fractured bones still echo through the land's very foundation. This wasn't just any beast from legend, it was the original dragon, a primordial force said to have risen from the Earth's molten heart alongside the first humans of Unova. Picture the dawn of that region, vast plains untouched, rivers carving wild paths, and twin brothers emerging as heroes amid the chaos. They weren't kings or gods, but visionaries, one driven by unyielding truth, or sought the other by pure ideals. The dragon, immense and radiant, with scales like shattered obsidian and eyes burning like twin suns, lent its power to their cause. Together, they forged Unova from wilderness into a cradle of civilization, taming floods, raising mountains, and binding Pokémon to human will in ways that shaped every league battle you've ever watched. But harmony shattered like glass under a hammer. The brothers, once inseparable, turned on each other in a war of philosophies that scorched the horizon. The elder brother proclaimed truth as the ultimate light, facts unbent, reality laid bare, no matter the cost. His sibling countered with ideals, visions of what could be, dreams forged in the fire of possibility over cold evidence. Their arguments escalated into armies clashing across the land, Pokémon unleashed in fury, its cities crumbling before they could stand. The original dragon torn between them could no longer endure the rift. In a cataclysmic roar, that legends say was heard across generations, it sundered itself, its body splitting into two halves, each embodying one brother's creed. From that severance rose Reshiram, the vast white Pokémon, embodiment of truth. Its turbine tail spins like a forge of judgment, flames white-hot and pure, scorching lies to ash. Across the fractured realm, Zekrom emerged as the vast black Pokémon, champion of ideals. Bolts of raw electric fury crackle from its tail generator, powering dreams into reality with thunderous might. These weren't mere legendaries born of whimsy. They were living ideologies, dragons that could raise kingdoms or rebuild them, depending on the hand that wielded them. The brothers claimed their dragons, waged one final earth-shaking duel atop a blackened peak, and in the end, both perished. Heroes turned tyrants, their legacies etched into Unova's twin cities, Osiris and Opelucid, forever divided. What remained was no triumphant relic, but a hollow remnant. Kyurem, the boundary Pokémon, the empty shell cast aside in the dragon's self-destruction. Drifting through the frozen wastes of the giant chasm, its body a jagged husk of ice and void, Kyurem hungers eternally for wholeness. Its cries are said to freeze the blood in your veins, a perpetual wail of incompleteness. In the games you find it there, lurking in perpetual winter, its form a mockery of the glory it once shared. Absorb Reshiram or Zekrom through shadowy Team Plasma rituals, and it becomes Black Kyurem or White Kyurem, fusions that pulse with stolen power, eyes glowing with the ghosts of divided truths. But whisper of the true terror, the complete dragon. Fuse all three, Kyurem with both Reshiram and Zekrom, and you awaken something history dared not name. Black and white. Two unveiled glimpses, a silhouette of unimaginable scale, wings blotting the sun, a maw that devours light itself. Pokédex whispers hint at power beyond legendaries, a force that could unmake regions, rewrite reality's code. Why then has its full image been suppressed? Ancient murals in Unova's Dragon Spiral Tower show only fragments. Reshiram soaring, Zekrom thundering, Kyurem lurking in shadow. No complete form. Game Freak buried deeper details in code scraps and manga side stories, fueling conspiracies that the Pokémon Company fears its release. Imagine it fully rendered. A dragon eclipsing Rayquaza, outmatching Eternatus, its presence warping time like Dialga's plates. Suppressed because to depict it invites invocation, or because Unova's founders sealed it away, knowing one wrong ideal, one twisted truth, could summon apocalypse anew? You feel it in the game's DNA, En's flute echoing the brothers' divide, Getsy's twisting their war into modern tyranny. Plasma's airships mimic the dragon's flight, their gospel a pale echo of that ancient schism. Even Alder, the wandering champion, speaks in riddles of heroes who became monsters, his eyes distant as if he's seen the shell's longing firsthand. Kyurem's chasm pulses with otherworldly cold, a scar on the map where reality thinned. And players report glitches, frozen screens, phantom roars, hinting the fracture never fully healed. This myth isn't folklore fluff, it's Unova's suppressed origin, a warning etched in ice and fire. What if that yearning shell stirs again, drawn by some fool's ambition? The brothers' war ended, but the dragon's divide festers, waiting for reunion. And speaking of paternal ghosts vanishing into legend without a trace, our next chapter uncovers the enduring void in Pokémon's biggest hero. Chapter 11, The Mystery of Ash's Father. From the shattered remnants of an ancient dragon, born from a war of ideals that tore brothers apart, Pokémon stories always circle back to fractured families and the voids they leave behind. In the anime that brought Ash Ketchum to life back in 1997, one such void yawns widest at the heart of Pallet Town itself. His father, the man who stepped out the door one day to chase his own dreams as a trainer and never returned. You remember that pilot episode, don't you? Ash, 10 years old, and bursting with that raw, unfiltered excitement, bolts awake on the morning he's supposed to get his first Pokémon. He's late. Pikachu's already zapping him in protest. And in the chaos of rushing downstairs, Delia, his mum, drops that single fleeting line. She mentions a man who left Pallet Town years ago to become a Pokémon trainer, just like Ash is about to do. It's tossed out casually, almost like background noise amid the starter Pokémon scramble. But it plants this seed. Who was he? Where did he go? Why hasn't he come back? The camera doesn't linger. Yet the adventure explodes forward with Team Rocket's botched bike theft and Misty's furious chase. Yet that offhand reference hangs there, a quiet promise of deeper roots. As the series unfolded across those early seasons, fans latched onto it. Ash's endless quest, badges, leagues, legendaries, mirrored his dad's path, but with no closure. Questions piled up in fan letters, forums, even interviews. Then in 2000, during a commentary track for the movie The Spell of the Unknown, the creators lit a sparkler of hope. They explicitly promised that Season 5, Johto League champions, would finally reveal Ash's father. Picture the hype, episodes airing, Ash pushing through the World Cup, the Silver Conference looming. Viewers tuned in weekly, ears perked for any hint of a grizzled trainer strolling back into Pallet Town, and maybe with stories of his own eternal journey. But Season 5 came and went. No mustache-twirling dad, no heartfelt reunion, not even a postcard from Cinnabar Island. The plot threads of Johto twisted through Larvitar rescues and Lugia awakenings, yet Ash's origin stayed buried. By the end credits of the League battles, the promise evaporated, like morning mist over Viridian Forest. Why scrub it? Whispers from production insiders point to shifting priorities. Game Freak's focus on games like Gold and Silver demanded anime tie-ins, legendary Pokémon arcs to hype new regions. A family drama might have slowed the momentum, clashed with the kid-friendly battling spectacle. Or perhaps they realised revealing him would shatter the myth. Once you see the man behind the absence, the mystery dies. Pokémon thrives on those open wounds. The what-ifs that keep you replaying episodes late into the night. Theories bloomed in the vacuum, wild and desperate. The most tantalising pins Ash's dad as Giovanni, Team Rocket's shadowy boss. Think about it. Both from Kanto, both trainers who vanished into ambition. Giovanni's Viridian gym roots scream pallet proximity. A young hotshot could easily knock up Delia before jetting off to build an empire. Flashbacks in the anime show him as a calculated powerhouse, Mewtwo experiments and all. Ash's unyielding rivalry with Team Rocket, inherited bad blood maybe. Jessie and James's endless failures echo a family curse. Even Pikachu's Thunderbolt fury against Meowth feels personal. Fans dissected episodes, that unexplained photo in Delia's house, Giovanni's rare softer moments, Ash's inexplicable pull toward forbidden power, like in the Mewtwo Strikes Back saga. It fits the dark conspiracy vibe. Your hero's bloodline twisted into the villain pulling strings from a rocket-shaped throne. Yet peel back the drama, and a grimmer truth emerges. He might have just been an ordinary failure. Most trainers wash out early. Stats from the games show league champions rarer than legendaries. Imagine him, cap backward, full of fire, grabbing a Squirtle or Charmander from Professor Oak. He battles a few gyms, loses to a kid with a lucky crit hit, fades into obscurity. Maybe he's slinging burgers at a Celadon diner now, or breeding Rattata in some forgotten root house. No grand empire, no tragic sacrifice, just the banality of dashed dreams. Delia raised Ash alone, steeling him against that same fate, turning absence into fuel. It's bleakly realistic, mirroring real-world absentee parents who chase pipe dreams and leave kids to pick up the pieces. That symbolism cuts deepest. Ash never ages past 10, eternally chasing mastery that slips away, Viridian badges melting, leagues crumbling to Paul or Alan. His father's ghost propels him, a perpetual boy denied maturity. No dad means no mentor, no reckoning, just the road ahead, horizon mocking with every Hoenn reset or Sinnoh stumble. It's Jungian shadow stuff, the absent patriarch as the journey itself, maturity forever deferred. Pokemon's world devours its wanderers. Ash embodies that limbo, Pikachu at his shoulder, Mum waiting with endless soup back home. Reveal the father and the cycle breaks. Ash grows up, hangs up the cap. They couldn't risk it. Better to let the void echo. Up next, the Tobias anomaly pulls us into Sinnoh's League shadows, where one trainer's unbeatable legendaries crushed dreams and then vanished without a trace. What unholy team did he hide to conquer it all? While the promise of Ash's father faded into anime obscurity, another enigma gripped the Sinnoh region during its league conference at the Lily of the Valley Arena, where a trainer named Tobias stepped into the spotlight without warning or whisper of his past. No hometown mentioned, no rivalries built over episodes, no flashbacks to childhood dreams. Just a cloaked figure with wild hair and piercing eyes, arriving as if summoned from the ether. He registered for the tournament, like any challenger, but the moment his first battle unfolded, the crowd fell silent, then erupted in disbelief. Tobias released Darkrai first, that pitch-black nightmare Pokémon with crimson eyes glowing like embers in the night, its tendrils slicing through opponents with effortless malice. Darkrai, the pitch-black Pokémon, a mythical being tied to eternal sleep and haunting dreams. One that even the boldest trainers avoid capturing because it defies containment. Yet here it was, under perfect command, sweeping entire rounds without breaking a sweat. Whispers spread through the stands. How? Where did he find it? But Tobias offered no answers, his expression unchanging, as Darkray's dark void pulled foes into oblivion, leaving them adrift in forced slumber. Then came Latios, the Eon Pokémon, a legendary guardian of the skies with sapphire scales shimmering under the stadium lights. Telepathic waves rippling the air as it unleashed psychic blasts and luster purge beams that shattered defenses like glass. Latios, elusive even in the wilds of Hoenn, brother to Latias, known for shielding humans from peril, yet Tobias wielded it like an extension of his will. These weren't just powerful catches, they were anomalies in a world where legendaries rarely bow to trainers, let alone two under one belt. The league's top seeds crumbled, Hiroshi with his Electivire, his team vaporized, even seasoned aces like that confident girl with her Rampardos fell before the onslaught. Ash Ketchum faced him in the semi-finals, heart pounding under those massive arena lights. Pikachu sparking at his side. Tobias didn't even flinch. Darkrai opened, enveloping the field in shadowy voids, forcing Snorlax into a helpless doze, Blaswello spiraling down mid-aerial assault. Pikachu dodged ethereal tendrils, thunderbolts crackling against the darkness. But Darkrai regenerated, unyielding. Ash switched to Infernape, flames roaring in defiance, close combat punches landing with seismic force. Yet Tobias recalled Darkrai without a word and sent out Latios. The dragon's eyes locked on, Memento exploding in a psychic surge that weakened Infernape to the brink. Then Dragon Pulse hammered home, ending it. Pikachu returned for one last stand, Iron Tail clashing against Luster Purge in a blaze of sparks and light. But Latios evaded, retaliated with a psychic crush, and it was over. Ash shook his hand afterward, respectful nod amid the roar, but Tobias's 4 other Pokeballs remained untouched on his belt, gleaming mysteries. He swept the finals the next day, and claiming the Sinnoh League Championship trophy with the same minimalism. No celebration, no interview bites, just a quiet acceptance before vanishing from the broadcast. The anime lingered on his exit, camera panning over empty trainer tents. The league grounds hushed as if he dissolved into mist. No victory lap through Sunnyshore's city, no challenge to Cynthia herself, nothing. 1 episode later, he's gone, scrubbed from the narrative like a glitch in the script. What drove a man to hoard such power without motive? No grudge against the league, no quest for dominance like Lance or Steven, just quiet competence. Theories swirl in fan circles. Was he a rogue agent from Team Galactic, Cyrus's secret weapon infused with Lake Trio energies to bend legendaries? Or a guardian from the distortion world, Giratina's emissary testing human limits? His silence screams intentional design, Game Freak teasing godlike potential while pulling back the curtain halfway. Those 4 unseen Pokémon haunt us most. Tobias's team totals 6. Sinnoh rules demand it, yet he never needed them. Speculation runs wild. Dialga for time manipulation, freezing foes mid-attack. Palkia warping space to inescapable prisons. Maybe Cresselia countering Darkrai's own nightmares. Or even Arceus itself, the creator, explaining his untouchable aura. Power levels? Off the charts, each likely maxed IVs, impossible movesets like Darkrai packing Focus Blast alongside Dark Void, Latios with Soul Dew boost nobody else accesses. Imagine the finals if he'd unleashed them. Rayquaza descending in Mega form, shredding the dome, Mewtwo psychically dismantling the opposition. Fans pore over frame-by-frame analysis of his belt, 8 shadows hinting at unusual Pokéball designs, cherish balls for mythicals, maybe premier balls from event distributions only hackers procure. Why erase him post-victory? The anime aired this arc from 2008 to 2010, Sinnoh's climax, yet no epilogue, no manga tie-ins, no games nodding to him. Pokémon Company blacklisted follow-ups, directors dodging questions in interviews. Perhaps he embodied the unattainable, a trainer surpassing Ash to underscore the hero's eternal journey, then shelved to avoid power creep, or darker, real-world inspiration from forbidden experiments like those Mewtwo labs, too close to ethical lines. Some say he faked his win via hacked ROMs bleeding into canon, a meta-conspiracy where glitches birthed lore. The Vanishing Act sealed his anomaly status. Post-league, his Sinnoh maps scanned. No Tobias sightings in Veilstone's game corner. No Flower Paradise wanderings. Even Pokémon Journeys, spanning 25 seasons, by 2023, ignores him amid its multiverse mashups. He's the ghost trainer, belt heavy with slumbering gods. Motivation a void deeper than Darkrai's dreams. That deliberate absence pulls you deeper into Sinnoh's shadows, where power hides unspoken motives. Much like the eerie disappearance of everyday creatures from the world's wilds, a mass extinction buried in plain sight. Tune in next for Chapter 13, The Great Animal Extinction, where Pidgey lookalikes and forgotten herds raise questions that chill the Pokédex itself. Tobias slipped away into the shadows of the Sinnoh League. His team of legendaries a riddle without an answer. But as we turn our gaze back to the earliest days of the Pokémon world, another vanishing act grabs our attention, one far more widespread and chilling. In the original Japanese releases of Pokémon Red and Green, back in 1996, take a close look at the title screens. There they are, birds wheeling overhead, not Pidgey or Spearow, but ordinary pigeons, their wings cutting through Kanto's skies just like they do in our own world. Step into Viridian Forest, and you might catch a glimpse of fish darting through streams. Sleek, unremarkable carp or minnows, nothing like the bloated Magikarp that flop onto shores later on. These weren't oversights or background filler. They dotted the landscapes deliberately, grounding the game in something familiar. Venture to the roots outside Pallet Town, and cows graze peacefully in fields, their forms unmistakable, black and white Holsteins lowing softly amid the tall grass where Rattata now scamper. The anime echoed this in its first episodes from 1997. Ash pedals his bike along Route 1, and there, in the underbrush, a rabbit hops by, ears twitching. Episode 2, in Viridian City, shows a stray dog padding through the streets, tail wagging idly. Even fish leap from rivers during Misty's early scenes, realistic trout flipping silver in the sunlight. These creatures coexisted with Pokémon, part of the ecosystem, unthreatened and unremarkable. Fast forward just a few years, and they evaporate. By Pokémon Gold and Silver, in 1999, those skies are empty of anything but the occasional Pidgey silhouette. No more cows dotting Johto's farms. Miltank have taken their pastures, their udders heavy with moo-moo milk that humans guzzle without question. The anime mirrors this shift starkly. After the Orange Island saga wraps around 1999, real-world fauna fades from the frame. No rabbits in the Viridian Forest episodes, revisited in later seasons. No dogs sniffing at heels during travels through Hoenn or Sinnoh, fish in aquariums, replaced entirely by Goldeen or Magikarp in tanks. By the advanced generation, the world feels purified. Only Pokémon remain, as if some cosmic edit scrubbed the ordinary from existence. What happened to them? Did they simply get retconned for design efficiency? Or does this point to a darker extinction event woven into the lore itself? Look closer at the Pokédex entries from those early generations, and hints emerge. Pidgey, the common bird Pokémon, it is described as inhabiting forests everywhere, its flocks blotting out the sun in migrations. But where did it come from? Theories among fans whisper that Pokémon didn't always rule. They invaded, perhaps from another dimension, or unleashed from ancient ruins like the ones guarded by Mewtwo's creators. Imagine vast herds of real deer and cows fleeing as Bulbasaur vines choke the undergrowth, or schools of ordinary fish devoured by the first Goldeen swarms. By Generation 2, non-Pokémon animals are gone, their niches filled. It's as if Pokémon outcompeted them to oblivion, aggressive invasives rewriting the biosphere. Or consider the evolution angle, even more unsettling. Those early cows, notice how Miltank resemble oversized bovines, their pink hides a mutation away from Holstein spots. Tauros stampeding in herds of 30, you echo wild aurochs tamed into domestication. Pidgey flocks mimic starlings or sparrows, but bulkier, fiercer. What if Pokémon are the descendants, the hyper-evolved survivors after a cataclysm? A viral plague maybe, sparked by some legendary, like Mew's experiments gone wrong, transforming wildlife into these powered-up forms. The fish that once swam free, now Magikarp, evolving into unstoppable Gyarados under stress. Birds into Fearow, rabbits into Buniri later on. The Pokédex supports this subtly. Venonat entries mention it resembling insects from our world, but altered. Beedrill hives dominate forests where bees once buzzed harmlessly. This extinction reshapes everything we thought we knew about daily life in Pokémon regions. Humans still farm, still eat, but from what? Markets in Goldenrod City sell fresh water and moo-moo milk, no beef cuts from vanished cows. Farfetch'd appears in Pokédex lore as a delicacy, trussed up like a gourmet meal. Its leek garnish a nod to ancient recipes. In the anime, characters picnic with sandwiches, but the fillings never shown. Brock cooks stews over campfires, aromas wafting, yet no chicken from those early pigeons. Unova's pinwheel. Forest hides evidence too. Volbeat and Illumise light up nights where fireflies once flickered alone. The implication hangs heavy. Humans turn to Pokémon for sustenance when the real animals dwindled. Dive deeper into the food chain, and it unravels into nightmare fuel. Mook oozes through Celadon City sewers, polluting waterways where fish once thrived. Did its sludge wipe them out? Parasect infests forests, zombifying bugs into hosts. Here in the game's post-Generation 1, every ecosystem screams dominance. Herds of Tauros trampling what meadows remained. Doduo pairs devouring insects wholesale. Anime episodes hint at scarcity. Jesse and James forage berries because game is scarce. And those cows, gone, but their milk lives on in Miltank, squeezed dry by farmers who treat them like livestock. What if the Great Extinction was no accident, but a Pokémon ascendancy, where the weak, ordinary animals were culled, leaving only the battle-ready? Evidence piles from peripherals too. The manga adaptations, like Pokémon Adventures from 1997, occasionally slip in realistic wildlife early on. A frog by a pond before Poliwag appears, a squirrel scampering before Rattata. But by the Chateau arc, purity reigns. Even Super Smash Bros. Borrowing sprites shows empty skies. Developers at Game Freak have never addressed it directly, fueling speculation on forums since the 2000s. Some point to technical limits, sprites were sparse, so backgrounds reused Pokémon assets. But why include real animals at all in 1996, only to erase them? It feels deliberate, a breadcrumb to the horror that Pokémon didn't just fill the world, they conquered it. Picture Kanto before the purge. Children chasing pigeons while Pikachu sparks nearby. Fishermen hauling trout beside Magikarp halls. Then silence. No bleats from cow pens, only Miltank moos echoing in the dawn. The anime's shift coincides with global popularity, perhaps sanitized for merchandise, but the lore whispers otherwise. Theories collide, invasive Pokémon from Ultra Space, precursors to Ultra Beasts, or a human-orchestrated cull, tying into Mewtwo's lab horrors where animals fused into abominations. Either way, the food chain inverted. Humans at the top? Hardly. We drink Pokémon milk, eat far-fetched thighs, trade Tauros hides for Pokéballs. The vanished fauna left a void filled by domestication of the conquerors. As regions expanded, Hoenn's oceans devoid of tuna schools, only wishy-washy teeming, the pattern solidifies. Sinnoh's snowy peaks, no goats or yaks, just Swinub rooting snowdrifts. Unova's farms pump out milk from Miltank clones, echoing factory horrors. And in the darkest red, this extinction prefigures our own world's biodiversity collapse. Pokémon as a warning wrapped in nostalgia. What survived, evolved, or served, the rest, forgotten fossils under Pallet Town. But if Pokémon claimed every niche, dominating through raw power, and how do humans bend them to our will? That control mechanism at the heart of it all, the Pokéball, raises questions we'll unravel next in Chapter 14, the ethics of the Pokéball. As those everyday animals faded from the world, vanishing like ghosts from the early games and anime, Pokémon stepped into the spotlight as the unchallenged rulers of every ecosystem. But here's the chilling part. You toss a tiny red and white sphere at a wild beast 10 times your size, and it just dematerializes, converted into pure data, squeezed down to fit in your pocket. The Pokéball isn't just a game mechanic, it's the black box at the heart of Pokémon society, a technology so casually omnipresent that no one in the lore ever stops to question it. Think about the moment of capture. You weaken the creature first, batter it with attacks until it's staggering, desperate. Then the ball arcs through the air, splits open with that signature click, and a beam of crimson light engulfs the Pokémon whole. In an instant, its massive body breaks apart into shimmering particles, funneled into the device like digital sand. What sorcery or science is this? Game Freak never explains. No patents from Sylph Company, no Pokédex entry on the physics. It's miniaturization on a biological level, rewriting matter itself. Fans have pored over the frames. The light isn't energy, it's information transfer. The Pokémon's flesh, bones, consciousness, all encoded into binary, compressed into a space smaller than your palm. Is it reversible? Does it hurt? Wild Pokémon fight back fiercely until that final shake settles, but once sealed, silence. You clip it to your belt and life goes on. But what awaits inside? A cozy paradise or something far colder? Some trainers swear their partners emerge refreshed, eager for battle, like they've been napping in a sunlit meadow. The anime shows glimpses, Pikachu lounging on a beach within Ash's Ball during a storm, safe from the chaos outside. Comfortable, right? A personalized habitat, tailored to each species' needs. Fiery warmth for Charizard, aquatic currents for Gyarados. Yet dig deeper and cracks appear. Time doesn't flow normally in there. Pokémon sent out after days in storage act, as if mere minutes passed. No hunger, no aging, no memories of confinement. Suspended animation maybe, a cryogenic limbo where metabolism halts, minds adrift in stasis, or worse, a simulated dream state, force-fed bliss to mask the void. Imagine your faithful companion reduced to code, looping through artificial serenity while you hike mountains or sleep through nights. Ethical paradise or unwitting prison? That brings us to obedience, the mechanic that turns feral monsters into loyal allies. Catch a wild ratata and suddenly it follows your every command. Tackle on cue, no hesitation. The Pokédex calls it loyalty forged in battle. But is it? Wild Pokémon scatter at human sight. Captured ones heal like dogs. No rebellion, no escape attempts post-capture. The ball imprints something during that data conversion. A neural override, rewriting instincts. Mind control disguised as friendship. Look at the games. Even legendaries like Mewtwo rage against it initially, breaking free only through sheer psychic will. Regular trainers? Their teams comply blindly. Yeah, anime episodes hint at it. Jesse's Arbok slithers back into the ball mid-betrayal, compelled. Is this why Pokémon tolerate us? Not bonds, but programming. A chemical in the ball's lining, or electromagnetic pulses scrambling free will. You weaken them. You own them. The ultimate domestication hack, turning apex predators into pets. But the real nightmare unfolds when you hit the PC, Bill's storage system, your infinite digital warehouse. 6x6 grids, endless boxes, Pokémon stacked like files on a server. You deposit them with a whirl of light, and poof, they're gone from your party, uploaded to some cloud in the ether. Convenient for hoarding hundreds, right? Rotate teams, breed competitively, forget the weak ones, accept those forgotten souls. Box 13, slot 42, a level 5 Magikarp from your childhood save file. Abandoned since 1998. Does it know time's past? Decades in our world, eternities in theirs? The PC isn't a habitat, it's a void. No battles, no sun, no calls from the trainer who ditched it. Pokémon lore whispers of PC errors, glitches where boxes corrupt, Pokémon lost forever in Delta Purgatory. Fan horror stories flood forums, corrupted saves swallowing entire teams into nothingness. Are they aware, screaming silently in the dark net? Or blissfully dormant, awaiting a recall that never comes? Trainers rack up collections without a second thought, shiny hunters with thousands in stasis, competitive players cycling ruthlessly. The ethics crumble under scrutiny. These aren't tools, they're living beings with dreams, rivalries, families left in the wild. Miniaturized against their will, minds possibly altered, are exiled to silicon tombs. Sylph Co. execs pocket billions, Professor Oaks nod approvingly, while Pokémon suffer in silence. What if one day the boxes overflow, a digital uprising from the void? The Pokéball promised mastery over nature. Instead it birthed a hidden atrocity, one toss at a time. And if the Pokéball hides such quiet horrors in plain sight, wait until you hear about Chapter 15, the Mount Pyre Grandmother, a spirit who vanishes from a sacred grave, leaving whispers that blur the line between death and something far more restless. If Pokéballs trap Pokémon in some digital stasis, neither fully alive nor truly at rest, then Mount Pyre offers Hoenn's answer to what comes after, the final sanctuary where souls of the departed linger among the gravestones. Towering over the southern seas, this volcanic isle serves as the region's Pokémon cemetery, layers upon layers of burial mounds spiraling up from wave-lashed shores to mist-veiled peaks. You climb it in ruby, sapphire, or emerald, your footsteps crunching over sun-bleached bones and weathered markers, the air thick with salt and silence, broken only by distant cries of Wingull wheeling overhead. Each level reveals more solemnity, wild Duskull drifting like forgotten regrets, Shuppet feeding on the sorrow etched into every stone. But the true heart waits at the summit, where the wind howls fiercest and the horizon blurs into eternity. There, Amid crumbling altars and offerings of wilted flowers, you find them. An elderly couple, frail yet unyielding, the woman in a faded kimono clutching a staff, her husband beside her, with eyes sharp as polished obsidian. They are the guardians of the red orb and blue orb, twin jewels pulsing with primal fire and tidal fury, artifacts said to awaken the legendary titans Groudon and Kyogre from their slumbers. These orbs aren't mere trinkets, they're conduits of cataclysm, capable of reshaping the world in land or sea. The couple speaks in hushed tones of their lifelong duty, sworn generations ago to protect these powers from unworthy hands. You hand over the orbs you've claimed from Team Magma or Aqua, depending on your path, and they accept them with reverent nods, sealing them away in a hidden chamber. Peace settles, or so it seems. Return later, after the crisis has ebbed, and Hoenn breathes again, and the scene shatters. The husband remains, but his wife, gone, vanished without trace as if the mountain swallowed her whole. No body, no explanation, just an empty space where she stood, her staff propped against the altar like a silent accusation. The wind picks up, carrying faint murmurs, and that's when Phoebe arrives. You know Phoebe, the ghost-type Elite Four member, young and ethereal, with her long dark hair and collection of spectral companions, Dusclops, Burnett, and the rest, bound to her by an affinity most trainers can only dream of. She communes with spirits as easily as breathing, her voice a bridge between worlds. Standing there on the summit, she tilts her head, eyes unfocused, and begins a conversation with nothing. Or so it appears to you. Grandmother, she says softly, you fulfilled your duty. Rest now. A chill ripples through the air, graveside candles flickering without breeze. She speaks of protection, of the orb's unyielding call, and promises the couple's vigil will endure through her. The invisible presence responds not in words you hear, but in the way Phoebe's Pokémon stir, their forms shimmering as if brushing against unseen hands. It's her, the grandmother, lingering as a spirit, bound to the peak even in death. This isn't coincidence. Phoebe's entire arc weaves the Hoenn Elite Four into the fabric of the afterlife. She's the outlier among them, attuned to ghosts while Sydney battles dark types, Glacia wields ice, and Drake commands dragons. Her dialogue across the region hints at deeper ties. She mentions spirits drawn to strong emotions, Pokémon and human alike, finding solace in Mount Pyre's embrace. Lavender Town's elderly folk whisper of her visits to graves, and in the battle tower, she muses on echoes of the departed fueling her power. The Elite Four aren't just champions, they're stewards of Hoenn's unseen realms. Phoebe foremost as the ghost whisperer who converses with the Veil. What happened to the grandmother? Theories swirl like the fog around the peak. Some say she poured her life force into shielding the orbs during the Magma Aqua upheaval, her body fading as her spirit took up eternal watch. Others point to Mount Pyre's lore, a place where guardians merge with the land, their essences fueling the barriers that keep restless souls contained. Remember the Lumiose City ghost girl from Carlos, glimpsed in elevators before materializing here on the summit, murmuring, "You're not the one." She haunts these heights too, suggesting Mount Pyre is a nexus for the world's unquiet dead, drawing them across regions. The grandmother might have been her predecessor, in or kin, a lineage of women sworn to the orbs, each sacrificing flesh for spectral vigilance. Dig deeper into the files, and Emerald's nuances sharpen the mystery. The husband's demeanour shifts post-disappearance. His words carry grief unspoken, a subtle animation tweak in the Game Boy Advance code, hinting at Game Freak's intent to unsettle. Fan dissections of the summit model reveal hidden collision flags, as if an invisible entity patrols even now. Phoebe's script triggers only after key events, post-Kyogre/Groudon awakening, post-Rayquaza's intervention, implying the grandmother's fate hinges on the world's near end. Did the orbs demand her life to balance their chaos, Or was she never corporeal, a spirit manifesting as flesh until duty called her home? Hoenn's Pokédex reinforces this spectral undercurrent. Mount. Pyre crawls with ghost types born from grief, Sulbly mining graves for gems infused with sorrow, or Duskull whose single eye weeps for the lost. The orbs themselves pulse with legend, red igniting terrestrial rage, blue summoning abyssal floods, and guardians like the couple echo ancient myths of priests binding primordials. In the anime's Hoenn saga, echoes appear, episodes of haunted towers and vanishing elders, though never directly adapting this. Manga like Pokémon Adventures twists it darker, with cultists targeting Mount, Pyre for necromantic rites. Imagine, you, the player, bearing those orbs up the endless stairs, sweat mixing with mist, only to witness this quiet horror. The grandmother's disappearance isn't a glitch or oversight, it's deliberate ambiguity, much like Lavender Tower's Raticate, or the unowned spells. Game Freak leaves her voice in Phoebe's words, a reminder that duty in Pokemon's world often blurs life and afterlife. Was she human or something older, woven from the mountain's volcanic soul? Theories persist on forums 2 decades later. Perhaps she's the true protector, her husband the anchor, and Phoebe the heir. Climb Mount Pyre tonight in an emulator. Feel that summit chill anew. Does the wind whisper back? These threads pull at Hoenn's grander tapestry, where Elite Four like Phoebe guard not just badges, but the boundary between worlds. Her bonnet, stitched from abandoned dolls, mirrors the grandmother's frayed kimono. Her Sableye scavenges the same graves. It's a lineage of loss, where the departed don't depart, they watch. And in that watch, questions linger. If the grandmother gave everything for the orbs, who guards them now when no heroes tread the peak? But hidden in plain sight among Hoenn's parental Pokémon lies an evolutionary riddle that defies biology even more. A mother whose child emerges not from birth, but from an impossible internal cradle. You'll want to uncover the Kangaskhan paradox next. From the misty peaks of Mount Pyre, where spirits whisper farewells to the departed, let's turn our gaze to the sun-baked savannas of Kanto, where a mother's embrace hides a secret that defies the very laws of nature. Every single Kangaskhan you stumble upon in the wild, whether prowling the outskirts of Fuchsia City or guarding her territory with unyielding ferocity, carries a tiny, helpless Joey clutched tight in her pouch. Not just any pouch, mind you, but one that's always occupied, from the moment she hatches from her egg. The Pokédex doesn't mince words on this. It states plainly that Kangaskhan are born with their young already nestled inside that abdominal marsupium. Picture it, a freshly emerged Kangaskhan, scales still glistening with eggshell remnants, lumbering forward with her infant already curled up, peeking out, utterly dependent. But here's where biology rears its head and screams impossibility. In the real world, marsupials like kangaroos give birth to embryos so underdeveloped they must crawl unaided into the pouch mere minutes after emerging from the birth canal. The Joey finishes gestating there, nursing on milk, growing over months. No newborn mammal arrives preloaded with a sibling. It's not just unlikely, it's a fundamental rewrite of reproduction. How does a hatchling Kangaskhan emerge from an egg with a living, breathing baby already embedded in her body? What evolutionary sleight of hand allows this pouch to be factory sealed with offspring at birth? You might think, well, Pokémon biology bends rules all the time. Think of Ditto transforming or Jigglypuff floating on helium lungs. But Kangaskhan's case lingers like a thorn, because no other species pulls this off. No evolutions, no megaforms, no regional variants explain it. And it gets stranger when you peer into the species' survival mechanics. Every Kangaskhan documented across games, from the original Red and Blue to the modern entries, is female. Not a single male in sight. No genderless option. No rare encounters flipping the script. Pokédex entries reinforce this. Mothers protect fiercely. Joeys cling for years. But fathers, absent. Vanished from the record. How does a species persist without males? Parthenogenesis, like some lizards cloning themselves. Or hidden males lurking unseen, contributing genetic material through some unspoken ritual. The silence from Game Freak only amplifies the void. Theories have swirled in fan circles for decades, each darker than the last. One whispers that the Joey isn't her biological child at all. It's a separate entity, a symbiotic parasite that latches on at birth, sustaining itself on the mother's nutrients without ever maturing. Why? Because no Kangaskhan baby ever leaves the pouch as an independent adult. You catch glimpses of the Joey evolving in later generations, gaining attacks, growing bolder, but it never departs to start its own life. It stays forever infantile, a perpetual dependent. What if this Joey is a distinct species, hijacking Kangaskhan reproduction to propagate itself? The mother raises it not out of instinct, but necessity. Her body, a lifelong incubator. Release the Joey manually in battle, and it fights valiantly. But wild observations show no solo juveniles roaming free. They're always pouch-bound, suggesting a cycle where the baby ensures the host's lineage continues, even as the mother weakens under the strain. Others tie this to the orphan cries echoing through Pokémon Tower. Cubone, the lonely Pokémon, wanders skulls first, mourning a mother it lost too soon, its wails piercing rain-soaked nights. Marowak, its evolution, haunts as a spirit in Lavender Town, club in hand, forever vigilant. But what if the Cubone line isn't separate? What if those motherless skulls belong to Kangaskhan, shared in some brutal cycle of loss? The Joey, stunted and parasitic, drains its host until death, then claims the pouch-scarred skull as its mask, wandering as Cubone, perpetuating the tragedy. This paradox digs deepest into the code that birthed these creatures. Back in the glitch-riddled world of Pokémon Red and Blue, the abomination lurks, missing no. Trigger it by surfing beneath the Cinnabar gym after surfing Cape Brink, then biking to the gym's back wall and opening the Pokédex mid-glitch on the old man's memorized Pokémon. Suddenly your 6th slot fills with missing no. A bird sprite flickering erratically, its cry a warped Kangaskhan bellow, its data a scrambled mosaic appending endless items to your bag. Item counts skyrocket to 255. Crashes ensue, save files corrupt, but peel back the hexadecimal layers, and missing numbers isn't random chaos. It's structurally tethered to Kangaskhan. In Generation 1's RAM, Pokémon data flows sequentially. Kangaskhan occupies slot 115, its entry wedged between valid beasts and the void. The old man glitch overwrites your party with graphic tiles from his Pokédex scan, but the append mechanic pulls from trailing data. Kangaskhan's cry echoes because her audio bytes bleed into the empty slot. Worse, evolve a glitched missing no, and fossils warp into Aerodactyl or Carbatops, but stunted variants mimic Kangaskhan's fossil-like immobility. Fan dissections reveal the Cubone line's evolution, flags overlap Kangaskhan's in memory addresses. Trade a Kangaskhan across games, and Cubone data sometimes corrupts into pouch echoes. Missing no isn't just a bug, it's the absent offspring, the missing number Joey that failed to manifest. Its code fragmented, haunting the pouch as digital limbo. Encounters with glitched Kangaskhan amplify this. Catch one post-missing no, and her Joey sprite glitches vanishing briefly, stats inverting. Theories posit the baby as non-Euclidean data, a subroutine that loads at birth but never completes, looping eternally. No males because reproduction is glitch propagation. Males missing from the roster like erased bytes. The species endures through this era, Kangaskhan as unwitting vectors for corrupted code masquerading as life. Yet for all its horror, Kangaskhan commands loyalty. Train her, and that pouch becomes a fortress. Joey leaping out in double battles, a tag team of maternal rage. But stare too long at that eternal infant, and doubt creeps in. Is it nurturing protection, or a prison of dependency? Or does Does the mother know her child will never truly grow, dooming her to solitude in death? These shadows of reproduction and code bleed into even stranger forces across the regions. In the coming chapter, Chapter 17, The Infinity Energy Crisis, we'll uncover how Sinnoh's buried keystones pulse with an endless power source born from forgotten atrocities, pulling spirits and trainers alike into an abyss that defies reality itself. I hope you're as amazed by this as I am. If you want to stay updated on more content like this, make sure to subscribe and join our community of curious minds. Trust me, what's coming next will challenge everything you thought you knew. Those eerie code fractures in the original games, tying Kangaskhan's pouch-born infant to Cubone's skull-masked grief, and whisper of something far more sinister buried in Pokemon's foundational data, a hidden economy built on the essence of the departed. What if the power surging through every Pokéball, every trainer's gadget, every glowing city skyline, came not from batteries or generators, but from the harvested life force of countless Pokemon souls? Deep in the annals of Kalos history, 3,000 years before Professor Sycamore's labs lit up Lumiose City, a warlord named AZ unleashed what he called the ultimate weapon. Picture the ancient battlefields of Kalos, soaked in rain and blood, where armies clashed not just with steel, but with Pokemon pushed to their breaking points. AZ, grieving the loss of his beloved Floette in the endless conflict, he poured his kingdom's resources into a machine of unimaginable scale, a floating fortress ringed with cannons that drank directly from the vital energy of living Pokemon. It wasn't fire or electricity they fed on, it was their very life force, siphoned in vast quantities to fuel beams that could level civilizations. Eyewitness accounts etched into Colossian ruins describe the horror. Pokemon drained dry mid-battle, their bodies crumbling to dust as ethereal light streamed upward into the weapon's core. Historians now believe this cataclysmic blast not only ended the war, but petrified an entire kingdom's worth of life. Tens of thousands of Pokemon reduced to flickering remnants, their energies fused into a perpetual storm. AZ survived, immortalized by the overflow, wandering eternally with his wilted Floette, a ghost of regret. But the weapon, it shattered, scattering its power across the region, embedding it in the soil, the stones, the very air of Kalos. Fast forward to your Generation 6 adventure, and those ancient echoes pulse through Mega Evolution itself. That rush of power when your Lucario bonds with its stone, eyes blazing white as infinite energy surges, it's no mere genetic boost. AZ's fleur-de-lis insignia marks every megastone, a royal seal confirming the truth. These evolutions tap the same forbidden source. The life force harvested 3,000 years ago didn't vanish, it crystallized, waiting. When you trigger that megaform, you're channeling the distilled agony of the genocide, borrowing strength from souls that never found peace. Sycamore's research papers, tucked away in Shala City, hint at it. The infinity energy phenomenon, a boundless and self-replenishing, born from sacrifice. But here's where the conspiracy thickens, pulling in players far beyond ancient kings. Devon Corporation, those Hoenn tech giants behind Pokénav upgrades and Pokéball mass production, didn't stumble on this by accident. Dive into their corporate filings from Rustboro City archives and you'll spot the patterns. Unexplained energy surpluses powering their assembly lines, shipments of strange keystones imported from Sinnoh's underworld sites. These aren't just curiosities, they're conduits, crude batteries attuned to spectral frequencies. Devon's R&D logs, leaked in hush trainer forums, reference post-mortem extraction protocols, refining infinity energy from disturbed graves and forgotten battlefields. Sylph Company in Kanto follows suit, their saffron silos humming with the same glow. Even Sylph scope prototypes from the Lavender Tower era, early detectors for life force bleed, repurposed now for grid-scale power. Your Unova apartment's lights, The Kalos subway's hum, the sleek maglev trains slicing through Gala's hills, they all run on it. Factories churn out Pokéballs by the billion, each one laced with stabilizers to contain the volatile essence. Profits soar into the trillions of Poké dollars annually, funneled through shell companies in Alola's backwaters. Executives toast at Lumiose galas, oblivious or willfully blind to the cost. Souls commodified, their unrest fueling your daily commute. Feel that chill yet? Every time you recall your team to a PC box, that digital limbo might not be mercy, it's storage. Preserving flickers of infinity energy for the next recharge cycle. Mega evolutions demand it fresh, pulling from a global network of siphons disguised as power plants near ruins like Lavender Town. Aziz knew the moral rot. His immortality is curse, not gift, a warning etched in every wandering step. Trainers like you, chasing badges and glory, unwittingly perpetuate the cycle. Your victories built on echoes of slaughter. And it doesn't stop at Pokémon. Those vanishing animals from the early games, the Pidgey flock scattering as legendaries dominate skies, did their essences feed the grid too? Devon patents for biomass converters suggest yes, a quiet purge masked as evolution. The weight settles heavier when you consider the ghosts. Lumiose City's elevator girl, her "you're not the one," a plea from the drained still seeking release. Mount. Pyre's whispers, old Chateau's shadows, they're not random hauntings, they're overloads, spirits rebelling against eternal harvest. This infinity energy crisis isn't ancient history, it's the undercurrent of your world, a convenience laced with genocide's residue. Power your phone, heal at a center, evolve your partner, and ask yourself, at what unseen price? The fractures run deeper still into Sinnoh's shadowed corners, where odd keystones bind 108 restless souls, fueling rituals that make Kalos look tame. Up next, Chapter 18, The Odd Keystone and the 108 Souls. Stay with me as we unearth the spirits demanding their due. As Sinnoh's ancient lore wrestles with forces far older than Kalos's catastrophic weapons, whispers persist of a different kind of harnessing. Not life force twisted into evolution, but raw malice sealed away in stone. Scattered across the region's most forsaken corners, you'll unearth them. The odd keystones. These unremarkable hunks of weathered rock, pitted and cold to the touch, hold a grudge that spans centuries. Drawing wanderers into rituals they barely comprehend. Picture the windswept plains of Route 206, where the earth cracks underfoot like brittle bones, and locals speak in hushed tones of a peculiar rock formation jutting from the soil. Shove an odd keystone into its slot and the air thickens with an unnatural chill. Shadows coalesce, swirling like ink in water, until Spiritomb emerges, a writhing mass of purpled fury, its ghastly face a mosaic of leering eyes and jagged grins. But this isn't some benevolent guardian spirit. No, Spiritomb was forged in retribution. He bound by the people of Old Sinnoh as punishment for unspeakable crimes. Legends etched into forgotten tablets tell of 108 souls, malefactors who ravaged villages, twisted minds with curses, and preyed on the innocent under moonless skies. These weren't mere ghosts of the departed, they were human spirits, steeped in vice, their essences so vile that even death couldn't cleanse them. The ancients devised a ritual of binding, channeling their malice into a single, unyielding prison, the odd keystone. Priests chanted incantations drawn from eastern winds, their voices echoing through misty valleys as they wove ethereal chains around each soul. One by one, the wicked were dragged kicking and screaming into the stone's heart, their screams fusing into an eternal cacophony that hums faintly if you press your ear to its surface on a still night. That number, 108, is no arbitrary count. It echoes through Buddhist teachings, symbolizing the 108 temptations that ensnare the human spirit. Greed that coils like smoke, hatred that burns without flame, delusion that blinds like fog over send-off spring. In temples across the world, beads strung 108 strong-mark prayers to purge these defilements. Sinnoh's sages mirrored this wisdom, trapping exactly that many tormented essences to prevent their escape. Spiritomb isn't a Pokémon born of nature. It's a deliberate abomination, a living judgment where every fractured gaze in its body belongs to a sinner denied redemption. Feel the weight of it, the horror of peering into those eyes and wondering whose grandmother, whose brother, whose child stares back with bottomless hate. Why then do these keystones turn up discarded in Sinnoh's bleakest wastes? Twinleaf Town's quiet fields hide them under loose dirt, while the fog-shrouded paths near Solaceon ruins spit them out like rejected curses. Travellers stumble upon one, drawn by an inexplicable pull, only to recoil from the dread it radiates. Hands tremble as they hurl it away into ravines or the depths of Lake Valor's caverns, desperate to sever the connection. Legends warn that carrying one invites misfortune. Pokémon flee your side, shadows lengthen unnaturally at noon, and nightmares replay the sins of the bound. In Platinum's hidden depths, like the spring where the keystone's aura pulse is strongest, its seekers report visions, spectral hands clawing from the stone, begging release not for mercy, but to drag you in with them. Delve deeper into the Pokédex, and the malice sharpens. Spiritomb, they say, was too sinful to pass on, its ghostly grudge so potent that splitting it into 108 fragments was the only mercy the ancients could grant. Yet even then, reunion spells calamity. In the games, placing that keystone awakens not just a battle partner, but a vortex of resentment, its forbidden move siphoning life with gleeful spite. Fans pore over data mines, uncovering ties to Sinnoh's Lakix, where Uxie, Mesprit and Azelf guard knowledge, emotion and will. Perhaps the very forces used to seal these souls. Theories swirl that the keystones multiply, spawned from overflow malice, or that every discarded one weakens the binding. Inching Spiritomb toward freedom, imagine trekking those desolate trails yourself, flashlight beam catching on a glint amid thorns and rubble. You pocket the stone, ignoring the gooseflesh creeping up your arms, the sudden silence of nearby Staravia. By nightfall, in your tent pitched on crumbling cliffs, faint whispers seep through the fabric, promises of power laced with venom. The odd keystone doesn't seek trainers, it hungers for vessels, tempting you with fragments of forbidden knowledge from its prisoners. One wrong step, one ritual half complete, and you join the chorus, your soul the 109th, forever etched into its snarling visage. These bindings endure as Sinnoh's grim reminder that some evils demand eternal vigilance, far removed from the flashy energies of megastones or ultimate weapons. Yet in the shadows of such ancient horrors lurks an even stranger enigma, a metallic Pokémon pulsing with signals from beyond our world, teasing secrets that could unravel everything we think we know. We'll decode it all in Chapter 19, the Meltan signal. Just as those 108 tormented spirits were sealed away within the odd keystone, forever bound by ancient rites echoing Buddhist temptations, a far more elusive force began pulsing through our world, not from forgotten tombs or haunted forests, but from the cold void of space itself. In late 2018, Pokémon Go players across the globe froze mid-step, their phones lighting up with something impossible. A tiny, screw-headed creature named Meltan, materializing out of thin air in a game that had long mirrored our reality. No fanfare, no trailers, no leaks from the usual insiders. Niantic dropped a mystery box event tied to the newly released Pokémon Let's Go games on the Nintendo Switch, and from it poured hordes of these hexagonal-eyed blobs, each one wriggling like Quicksilver come alive. Trainers everywhere watched as Meltan swarmed Pokéstops, their nut-like heads bobbing in unison, as if summoned by a silent command. You could almost hear the hum through your screen, a low metallic vibration, that made the app feel alive in a way it never had before. But what were they? Meltan weren't born from eggs or wild encounters like every other Pokémon before them. They seeped from that digital mystery box, reforming endlessly. Their bodies a shimmering liquid metal that defied physics. Pokédex entries describe them as the smallest steel type, yet capable of stretching limbs into hex bolts to hurl at foes or merging into larger forms. Imagine holding one in your palm, cool, viscous, flowing like mercury, but tougher than titanium, reshaping itself with a mind of its own. Scientists in the Pokémon world, and ours, scratch their heads. How does a creature made of programmable alloy even exist? Theories swirled online, from nanotechnology gone rogue to remnants of an ancient machine civilization. But Game Freak offered no answers, only the eerie directive to feed them candy, to evolve into the towering Melmetal. And then there was the behaviour, pure hive mind synchronicity. Watch any footage from those early Go raids. Meltan don't wander alone. They cluster, pulse, reform in waves, sharing a collective intelligence that feels less like instinct and more like a network signal. One Meltan spots prey, and dozens pivot as one, their eyes flashing in perfect rhythm. It's not aggression, it's coordination, like ants or bees, but with the precision of code. Players reported glitches too. Phones overheating, apps crashing under the strain of rendering thousands at once, as if the sheer data of their presence overloaded servers. Was this a test? A probe? Meltan vanished from geospawns almost as quickly as they arrived, retreating back to their boxes, leaving trainers with rare candies and unanswered questions. Dig deeper into the lore, and the erasure hits hard. Meltan claims ancient origins. Pokédex lore in Let's Go hints they're relics from eons past forged in the Earth's core or beyond, their liquid form a primordial soup of metal that predates human history. Yet no records exist before 2018. No cave paintings in Kanto's depths, no Chateau scrolls, no Carlos murals from 3,000 years ago. They should litter Unova's ruins or Alola's Tapus, given their extraterrestrial vibe, but nothing. It's as if someone, or something, wiped them clean from the timeline. Theories point to ultra wormholes, those rifts from sun and moon that spew otherworldly beasts. Meltan fits the profile. Invaders from another dimension, their signal broadcasting across realities to hitch a ride into ours via Pokémon Go's augmented lens. That signal? There's the heart of it. In Let's Go, Professor Oak detects a strange signal emanating from Meltan clusters, strong enough to warp space and summon more. It's no coincidence this coincides with the game's tie-in to Pokémon Go, blurring virtual and real worlds. Players became unwitting beacons, their phones' antennas for an interstellar call. Connect the dots to extraterrestrial Pokémon, like the Ultra Beasts, Nihiligo's jellyfish puppetry, Buzzwole's muscle-bound invasions, Pheromosa's alien grace. Meltan could be the vanguard, their hive signal the precursor pulse that rips open wormholes. Why now? Post-Gen 7's ultra-space chaos, as if the barriers thinned and these liquid scouts slipped through first. Melmetal, their evolved behemoth form, amps the dread. Towering at 8 feet, arms like industrial hammers, it generates electricity from grinding gears within its body, a walking fusion reactor. Evolve 10 Meltan, and you birth this titan, but only through that persistent signal, linking back to Go's mystery box. Post Let's Go, they faded again, sidelined in core games, as if the experiment concluded. But echoes linger. Fan analyses of data-mined code show Meltan models with unused animations, swarming patterns hinting at global takeovers, merging into vast metallic hives that could engulf cities. Why erase them from history? Protection, perhaps? If Meltan hail from a rogue planet or machine realm, their ancient incursions might explain lost civilizations. The Carlos War's weapons, Sinnoh's infinity energy reactors, or maybe their guardians, signals warning of greater arrivals. Pokémon Go's real-world map became ground zero, your neighborhood a landing zone. Trainers felt it instinctively. Catch too many, and the air thickens with ozone, screens flickering, with unbidden static. This isn't just a cute mascot drop, it's a breach. Meltan's signal pierced our reality, hive mind marching to an unseen conductor, liquid metal rewriting the rules, and as those bolts fly and forms reform, you wonder, what else is listening on that frequency? But the whispers don't stop there. Up next, Chapter 20, The Hypno's Lullaby, where a certain psychic predator's haunting melody lures children into eternal dreams. And the line between sleep and something far darker blurs forever. While Meltan's hive mind pulsed through signals we could almost detect in our own reality, Pokemon's dreamscape hides a far more insidious predator, one that doesn't conquer worlds, but slips into the minds of the innocent, savouring their slumber like a midnight feast. Hypno, the evolved form of drowsy, doesn't just hypnotise, its Pokédex entries whisper of a creature that actively hunts the dreams of sleeping children, drawing them out with a golden pendulum that sways like a siren's call. You can feel the chill in those early entries from the original games. In Red and Blue, it's described as carrying a pendulum that it uses to lull people to sleep, then tasting their dreams. Tasting. Not observing, not influencing. Tasting, as if those fragile visions of youthful wonder are a delicacy it can't resist. Gold and silver deepen the horror. Hypno prefers the dreams of children above all, because they're the most flavourful, untouched by the bitterness of adult worries. Picture a child tucked in bed, eyelids fluttering with visions of flying on pidgeot backs or endless berry picking, only for this looming yellow figure to appear at the window, its spiral eyes glowing faintly, pendulum ticking softly against the glass. This isn't idle flavour text. The games and anime weave Hypno into real abductions, starting with the infamous Berry Forest incident. Deep in the 5-island area of the Sivai Islands, accessible only after Fire Red and Leaf Green unlocked those post-game secrets, Berry Forest hides winding paths thick with sweet-scented bushes that mask something far darker. Locals whisper of a wild Hypno that emerged one foggy evening, its pendulum swinging in hypnotic arcs under the moonlight. A young girl, no older than 10, wandered too far, picking rare berries for her family. She vanished without a trace, her cries echoing faintly through the trees like half-remembered lullabies. Rescue teams scoured the forest for days, finding only her dropped basket, berries scattered like blood drops on the mossy ground. Then came the sightings, other children in nearby towns reporting nightmares of a tall, mustachioed shadow beckoning them deeper into the woods, promising endless sleep. The girl's parents hung missing person posters at the Pokémon Center, her smiling face with Pikachu hair clips staring out eternally. Game Freak never resolved it. No triumphant battle, no heartfelt reunion. Hypno still lurks there in remakes, wild and unrepentant, its cry a low, pendulous hum that players swear lingers in headphones long after turning off the game. That pendulum deserves its own nightmare spotlight. Crafted from solid gold, it dangles from Hypno's hand, engraved with hypnotic spirals that catch and bend light into mesmerizing patterns. Swing it once and focus sharpens unnaturally. Swing it rhythmically, and consciousness fades into obedience. Our real-world folklore fuels this terror. Ancient hypnotists used pocket watches or crystals for trance induction. But Hypno draws from darker myths, like the Japanese Baku, dream-eating spirits that devoured nightmares, but sometimes stole good dreams too, leaving victims hollow. European tales of the Sandman sprinkle dust for sleep, yet Hypno inverts it, weaponizing drowsiness into captivity. Watch anime footage from the early 90s episodes, and the visual hits harder. Hypno's pendulum glows with an otherworldly sheen, ticking like a metronome synced to your slowing heartbeat. Children slump forward, eyes rolling back, mouths slack as they're marched away in a zombie parade. The animation lingers on close-ups, the pendulum's arc slicing shadows across blank faces, Hypno's trunk-like nose twitching as it inhales dream essence. And it's no accident. Game Freak chose this design. Psychologists note pendulums exploit eye fixation and fatigue, mirroring clinical hypnosis, but amplified into predatory horror. Why does Hypno haunt the fringes, always tied to isolation and vanished kids? Look at its habitats. Berry Forest, a secluded maze far from main routes. The Pokémon Tower outskirts in Lavender Town, where ghosts and grief already thicken the air. Even in later games like Sun and Moon, Hypno prowls abandoned nurseries on isolated islands. Pokédex evolves the theme. Crystal notes it takes children playing in gardens, never to return. Emerald says it carries off disobedient kids who never wake. These aren't random. They echo urban legends of changelings or Pied Pipers, but grounded in Pokemon's world, where wild Hypno roam unchecked. Fan theories multiply in the silence. Did that Berry Forest girl become a permanent dream slave, her body hidden in Hypno's lair, while her mind frolics eternally in flavoured fantasies? Games associate Hypno with orphanages and remote daycare centres. Think the Pokémon daycare on Four Island, steps from Berry Forest, where eggs hatch without parents. Isolation amplifies vulnerability. No trainers nearby means no intervention. In Black and White's strange house, echoes of Hypno illusions blend with Drifloon's child snatching, suggesting a network of nocturnal predators preying on the lonely. Dive into spin-offs, and the pattern solidifies. Pokémon Snap's Pokémon Island features Hypno guarding a valley, hypnotizing visitors who stray too close, their Bulbasaur cameras dropping forgotten. Mystery Dungeon games cast Hypno as a dungeon boss in dream-warped realms, trapping explorers in sleep loops. Even trading card art depicts it looming over cradles, pendulum poised. Developers seem deliberate. Hypno appears in every generation except a few, always peripheral, always whispering of disappearances that tug at parental fears. This lullaby never ends cleanly. No elite trainer claims the Berry Forest Hypno. No Pokédex update redeems it. Instead, it sways on, a golden threat in the quiet hours, reminding us Pokémon's wilderness devours the unguarded. As we pull away from these hypnotic shadows, prepare yourself for Chapter 21. The Ruinous Quartet of Paldea, 4 ancient forces buried beneath Scarlet and Violet's vibrant lands. Their awakening tied to ruins that pulse with forbidden power, threatening to unravel the entire region's fragile peace. What cataclysm do they herald? And why do Paldea's legends hush their names? Sleep on that mystery tonight. But those dream-haunted forests of Kanto feel almost quaint when you turn your gaze to Paldea, where the shadows of ancient calamity still linger in the earth itself. Deep beneath the vibrant plains and jagged peaks of that sun-baked region lies a legend born from unchecked ambition, a tale of 4 sacred treasures that twisted into harbingers of doom, animated not by magic or myth, but by the raw venom of a king's heart. Picture the ruins scattered across Paldea's wilds, crumbling pagodas half swallowed by sand, forgotten altars etched with warnings in a tongue long faded. These are the remnants of an empire that once spanned horizons, ruled by a monarch whose vaults overflowed with gold and jewels plundered from every corner of the known world. He wasn't content with his hoard. No, his eyes burned with envy for relics beyond his borders, 4 exquisite artifacts said to embody the essence of fortune itself. From the east came the beads of ruined fortune, shimmering orbs pulsing with an otherworldly light. The Sword of Ruin arrived from frozen northern wastes, its blade whispering promises of unyielding power. A vase of ruin, forged in volcanic fires, held secrets of boundless prosperity, and the Tablet of Ruin, carved from stone older than mountains, bore inscriptions that could bend fate to one's will. This king, blinded by greed, dispatched armies to seize them. He paraded the treasures through his grand halls, convinced they would cement his legacy eternal. But hatred festered in his soul, not just for rivals who possessed such wonders, but for the very idea that fortune might favour others. Scholars whisper that on the night he claimed them all, a storm unlike any other raged outside his palace. Thunder cracked the sky, winds howled like tormented spirits, and the ground trembled as if the world itself recoiled. By dawn, the treasures were no longer inert relics. They had awakened, infused with the monarch's darkest emotions, transforming into colossal Pokémon that embodied ruin in its purest form. Wo-Chien, the ruinous beast of the tablets, slithered forth first from the stone slab, its shell a mosaic of ancient script now alive with malice. This serpentine horror burrowed into the earth, coiling through roots and bedrock, unleashing earthquakes that fissured the kingdom's heartlands. Cities that had stood for centuries cracked open like eggshells, swallowing markets, so temples and thousands in their crevasses. Rivers diverted into chasms, fields turned to barren dust, and the once fertile plains became a labyrinth of scars, reminders that the land itself could rebel against human excess. Then came Chien Pao, forged from the Sword of Ruin, a spectral leopard with icy fangs and fur like drifting snow. It prowled the highlands, exhaling blizzards that blanketed passes in eternal winter. Armies dispatched to hunt it froze mid-March, their banners snapping brittle in gales that carried the screams of the dying. Villages vanished under avalanches, livestock perished in droves, and the king's own outposts became tombs of blue ice. Their inhabitants, locked in rictus grins, as hypothermia claimed them one breath at a time. Ting Lu emerged from the vase of ruin, a moose-like behemoth wreathed in earthen fury, its antlers channeling floods and eruptions. It rampaged through lowlands, summoning torrents that drowned coastal strongholds and volcanic blasts that buried heartlands in ash. The air choked with sulphur, skies blackened for months, and the Empire's granaries washed away, sparking famines that gnawed at the survivors like unseen beasts. What rivers didn't claim, landslides did, reshaping the map in the image of vengeance. And Chi Yu, the last to stir from the beads of ruin, was a blazing fish of war incarnate, its golden eyes igniting conflicts wherever it swam. Schools of lesser fish turned savage under its gaze, but worse, mortals exposed to its aura succumbed to berserk rages, brother turning sword on brother. Civil wars erupted in the chaos of the other disasters, fueled by this creature's infectious fury. Palaces burned, loyalties shattered, and the king's own court dissolved into bloodshed, each faction blaming the next for the apocalypse unfolding. These four, the Ruinous quartet, didn't just destroy, they unraveled the empire from within and without. Earthquakes sundered supply lines, blizzards isolated garrisons, floods and eruptions razed infrastructure, and the flames of war consumed what little remained. The king who had birthed this nightmare, through his avarice, watched from his crumbling throne as his realm fractured. Starvation stalked the refugees, diseases bloomed in the wreckage, and whispers spread that the treasures had judged him unworthy, turning his greed into the very weapons that felled his dynasty. Desperate sages and warriors, those few who survived the onslaught, rallied in hidden groves. They devised seals of immense power, binding each beast back into its origin, relic through rituals that demanded blood, chants echoing through nights lit by dying fires. Wo-Chien was entombed beneath the western province's dunes, its tablet altar ringed by stakes driven deep into unyielding stone. Chien Pao vanished into the snowy crags of the north, the sword plunged into glacial ice that never thaws. Ting Lu slumbered under the eastern peaks, the vase secured in caverns prone to cave-ins. Chi Yu sank into the southern seas, beads scattered across treacherous reefs. Etched above each seal, a dire proclamation in archaic script. He who breaks this bond invites the ruin of ages. Let greed sleep eternal, lest the quartet rise and empires fall once more. For centuries, these warnings held. Explorers skirted the ruins, locals offered prayers at the fringes. Even Paldea rebuilt atop the graves of its past, its people none the wiser to the slumbering wrath below. But then you arrive, the wandering trainer, drawn by curiosity or fate, stepping into areas marked as forbidden. You interact with the altars, perhaps seeking badges or glory, meddling with mechanisms meant for gods and ghosts. One by one, the seals fracture under your hand. Wo-Chien erupts from the sands, shaking the ground anew. Chien Pao's howl pierces the blizzards. Ting Lu's roar floods the valleys. Chi Yu's eyes ignite the air with war's promise. You're the catalyst, the unwitting inheritor of that ancient king's folly. The game doesn't judge you outright. No ominous music swells, no NPC cries betrayal. Instead, these beasts join your cause, their power yours to command, as if the cycle of ruin finds new purpose in your journey. But pause at those ruins tonight. Feel the subtle tremor underfoot, the chill wind that carries faint howls. Have you truly tamed them, or merely delayed the next downfall? The quartet waits, bound yet restless, a testament that some legends demand to be lived again. And as Paldea's fragile peace hangs by such threads, our path leads into even stranger fractures. Next, Chapter 22. The Multiverse and the Delta episode, where timelines collide and cosmic rifts threaten to swallow worlds whole. What secrets lurk in those parallel voids? Stay with me to uncover them. While the Ruinous quartet unleashed earthquakes, floods, blizzards, and toxic sands to topple an ancient Paldean empire, those catastrophes pale against the cosmic hammer, poised to shatter every Pokémon world across infinite timelines. In the skies above Hoenn, to during the climactic events of Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, a hunter named Zinnia confronts you with a truth that unravels the fabric of reality itself. She's no ordinary trainer. She's the last lawkeeper of the Draconids, a tribe sworn to guard ancient scrolls etched with warnings from the stars. Zinnia doesn't mince words. She pulls you into the heart of Meteor Falls, where glowing ruins pulse with forbidden knowledge, and lays bare the multiverse, countless parallel dimensions branching from every choice, every battle, every evolution in Pokémon history. But here's the gut punch. Not every world unlocked mega evolution. In many, the ultimate power-up never surfaced. Trainers there fight with raw strength alone. No stones, no bonds strong enough to shatter limits. Rayquaza remains aloof, uncoiling only in desperation, while Hooper's rings stay sealed, denying shortcuts between realms. You feel the weight as Zinnia traces her finger over a holographic map of stars, her voice echoing off damp cavern walls. Those megalith worlds, they're dying. A colossal meteor, home to the DNA-twisting Deoxys, hurtles through the void toward Hoenn's core. In your timeline, you might summon Rayquaza, mega-evolve it with the power of the infinite energy we've traced back through Kalus's genocidal wars. You might punch a wormhole shut, hurling the rock into oblivion, but Zinnia insists the stars don't lie. In every parallel dimension, that meteor strikes, unstoppable, no legendary intervention, no trainer's heroism suffices. Hoenn crumbles, glass towers of moss-deep shatter, lava ridges, hot springs boil over into lava floods. The entire region reduced to a scarred crater, while the rest of the world watches in horror. She grips your arm, eyes wild with the burden of prophecy. You've glimpsed it already, the Delta episode's frantic chase. Deoxys crash lands on Route 119, mutating wild Pokémon into twisted echoes of themselves. Its psychic pulses warp the atmosphere, summoning shooting stars that pummel the earth like divine judgment. Zinnia races you across Hoenn on the back of her Salamonts, dodging meteor showers that carve glowing scars into Evergrande's peaks. You board the Sky Pillar, ancient spire piercing the clouds, where Rayquaza slumbers amid murals of past apocalypses. Mega evolution flares here, a desperate key, but Zinnia reveals it's fleeting. The meteor reforms, Deoxys regenerates, wormholes yawn open like screaming mouths. Why? Because the multiverse bleeds. Those wormholes aren't accidents. They've been ripping open since Ultra Space intruded in Sun and Moon, spilling Ultra Beasts into Alola's paradise. Nihiligo's tentacles drag trainers into jellyfish nightmares. Kartana slices through steel like paper. Buzzwole flex with muscles that crush boulders. Pokédex logs from Ether Paradise detail the siege. Irregular rifts flickering over Melemele Beach at dusk, sucking in Pidgey flocks and spitting out Xurkitree's electrified vines. Ultra Megalopolis, that inverted hellscape ruled by Necrozma's blinding light, presses against our reality constantly. Wormholes prove it. The Pokémon world isn't a sanctuary. It's a fortress under endless assault. Blasts from Hisui's space-time distortions. Tears from Gala's darkest day. Now Delta's meteor barrages. Why each breach funnels doom from parallel failures, as if the multiverse conspires to cull the weak. Zinnia calls you a link. Not just any trainer, but a tether woven from every timeline's threads. You sense it in the quiet moments, the way your Mega Ring hums when Ultra Beasts howl, or how Deoxys' core pulses in sync with your heartbeat during the showdown. Links like you and her bridge the dying worlds, pulling fragments of salvation across dimensions. But dread coils in that role. What if you're not saving Hoenn? What if you're the conduit for its end? Countless realities flicker out, trainers buried under rubble, legendaries silenced forever, entire Pokédexes lost to the void. Your victories echo faintly into those voids, buying time, but the meteor always returns. Zinnia's scrolls whisper of elder links who went mad, Shua staring into the abyss of infinite Hoenns reduced to ash. She hands you the scroll of the Draconids, its pages brittle with eons, urging you to choose. Seal the wormhole, embrace the link, or let the cascade consume everything. The Draconids knew this siege from the dawn of Hoenn. Their cave paintings depict meteor swarms, blotting out Kyogre and Groudon's primal clash. Deoxys, as a red-eyed invader, twisting Dragonite wings into aberrations. Zinnia embodies their vigil, tattooed scales glowing under moonlight, her Altaria weaving protective songs through storm clouds. Yet even she cracks, admitting the prophecy's toll. In one timeline, you fail. Sutopolis floods anew, not from legendaries but stellar debris vaporizing Wallace's gym into plasma. In another, Mega Rayquaza roars triumph, and only for Ultra Beasts to pour through the Backlash Rift, Necrozma eclipsing the sun eternally. The existential horror sinks in. Every Pokéball toss, every gym badge, ripples across infinities where you never existed, where Ash's Pikachu fell to a wild Ursaring, where Red vanished into Mount Silver's eternal blizzard. Ultra Beasts amplify the terror, their Pokédex cries like war horns from beyond. Pheromosa darts through wormholes at hypersonic speeds, leaving Alolan Rattata bisected. Guzzlord devours Island's whole, its maw a black hole echoing Delta's meteor hunger. Ether Foundation logs from Lucamine's full chart the pattern, breaches spike near meteor events, as if Deoxys' arrival thins the veil. Wiki's hushed reports in Ultra Sun and Moon hint at failed containment, dozens of beasts loose in Pony Grove, all not their toxic auras mutating Comfey into venomous horrors. Hoenn's Delta episode foreshadows this multiversal war, proving no region stands alone. Kalas's ultimate weapon cracks the first fissure. Paldea's quartet widened it with terrestrial rage. Now, wormholes herald the star's vengeance, as Zinnia fades into legend, handing you her Lawkeeper mantle atop the Delta shoreline. Waves crashing against meteorite-strewn sands, you grasp the link's curse. You're the fragile thread stitching realities, haunted by ghosts of worlds where mega evolution was a myth, where the meteor won. Every night, in your Lily Cove bed, do you hear it? The distant rumble of impacts across the multiverse, Ultra Beasts screeching through tears in the sky. The Pokémon world endures, but barely, a nexus under siege, Links like you, its only bulwark. And as these cosmic fractures deepen, we edge toward the ultimate enigma that ties every conspiracy together. Stay with me for Chapter 23, the final unsolved mystery. Across every shattered timeline Zinnia warned us about, meteors tear through the sky without mercy, civilizations crumble, and yet here we stand in Kanto, in Chateau, in Paldea, as if none of it ever happened. What force could unravel entire worlds, only to stitch them back together, flawless and forgotten? What if the Pokémon universe isn't a straight line of progress from Generation 1 to now, but a looping spiral, reset time and again by a creator who deems us unworthy? Arceus, the alpha Pokémon, doesn't just create, it destroys to renew. Pokédex entries whisper of this from the very beginning. In Sinnoh myths, Arceus birthed the universe from its 1,000 arms, plates shifting to summon Dialga for time, Palkia for space, Giratina for antimatter. But look closer at those plates. They crack under pressure, unleashing distortion world chaos, a glimpse of what happens when harmony fractures. Every regional legend echoes this pattern. Hoenn's primal forces clash in endless, primal reversion. Unova's dragons splinter from brotherly betrayal into ideological war. Gala's eternal king dynamaxes the land into ruin before being sealed away. These aren't isolated tales, they're scars from interventions gone wrong. Bonds between trainers and Pokémon stretched to breaking, inviting divine judgment. Think back to Lavender Tower in the original games. That somber spire in Kanto where Gary lingers, his Raticate vanished, replaced by monsters born of grief. You climb those flickering stairs, ghosts of Marowak and Cubone wailing in the rain, their cries amplifying on stormy nights, because that's when the mother's skull weighs heaviest on the orphan's bare face. Cubone doesn't just wear a mask, every one of them is motherless, a lineage of loss etched into their bones. Why? Because cataclysms don't spare the innocent. Pokémon Tower isn't a graveyard, it's a monument to the last reset, souls too stubborn to fully fade, haunting the edges of the new world. Layer on the ghosts that pierce through games like echoes refusing silence. The Lumio city girl in her elevator prison, murmuring, "You're not the one," materializing later on Mount Pyre among Hoenn's ashes, then gone without trace. The old Chateau duo in Eterna Forest, trapped in nightmares Darkrai inflicted before Cressilia's mercy, arrived too late for the girl. The strange house child in Unova, lulled by Hypno's pendulum into a dream from which she never woke. Dryfloon waiting to ferry her away. These aren't random spooks, they're remnants, human spirits unbound by Pokeballs, lingering because the reset overlooked them. Game Freak scatters them deliberately, across regions and remakes, never resolving because resolution would mean finality. Instead, they breed dread, the quiet horror that death here isn't an end, but a half-life in the cracks of creation. Lieutenant Surge's war fits seamlessly, that Vermilion gym vet ranting about enemies who grinned at 1,200 meters. No dates, no victors, just electric scars on his memory. Anime hints at human Pokémon alliances fracturing under fire, Zapdos storms raging unchecked. Non-Pokémon animals vanishing post-Kanto, those Pidgey-mimicking birds. Bogged the fish in streams, cows in fields. Did they resist the dominance? Evolve into something fiercer? Or get culled in the purge? Pokeballs themselves scream artificiality, miniaturizing life into obedience, enforcing bonds that feel sacred but might be shackles. Far-fetched as a delicacy, muck oozing from pollution. Humanity's toll on this world mounts, straining the creator's patience. Now weave in the legendaries as enforcers. The GS Ball, Celebi's golden enigma, handed to Kurt, pulsing with time essence, abandoned mid-Johto without explanation. Tobias sweeping Sinnoh's league with Darkrai and Latios. His hidden quintet of mythicals, a Shadow League winner who evaporates. The original Dragon Trio, Reshiram, Zekrom, Kyurem, truth and ideals at war, until the shell remains, a hollow reminder of division. Paldea's Ruinous quartet, a greed incarnate toppling kingdoms with tectonic fury. Meltan signals from our world bleeding in, hive minds marching in patterns no one deciphers. Odd keystones summoning spiritom from 108 sins, Buddhist temptations binding malice into stone. It all converges on the Great Reset. Arceus, watching from Hall of Origin's veiled throne, senses the fragility, human ambition, Mewtwo's genesis from twisted science, Kadabra's boy warped into psychic servitude. Kangaskhan's pouch defying nature's laws, threatens equilibrium. Bonds snap, Ash's father lost to shadows, Gary's starter slain. Tobias quitting the spotlight. Wars erupt, meteors loom, ghosts multiply. Then the plates realign. Worlds reboot. Kanto rises anew in remakes. Timelines fork without mega evolution. In some dimensions, but the core persists, sanitized, with ghosts as warnings. Game Freak knows this. They dangle these threads across nearly 3 decades, from 1996's Pixel Ghosts to 2023's unresolved retirements. No answers for Ash's dad, no fate for the GS Ball, no war's end for Surge. Why? Cosmic horror thrives in ambiguity. Fill it in, and the fear dissipates. Leave it gaping, and you feel watched. The developer interviews skirt it. Pokédex revisions tease without committing. Anime arcs drop plots like Celebi's orb into void. It's intentional design, a meta layer where the unsolved becomes the story. Replay Red and Blue, and Lavender Tower's chill deepens, knowing it might be prophecy. In the Pokémon world, the gods like Arceus don't announce their wrath. They erase it, leaving you to piece the puzzle from spectral whispers and orphaned skulls. The human Pokémon bond, so pure in your hands, frays under hubris inviting the reset. We've chased these conspiracies through graveyards and multiverses, but the true terror lies not in what we've uncovered. It's in the vast unseen. The Alpha's gaze from beyond the stars, plates humming faintly, ready to shift again. What we don't see. That's the most dangerous of all. What did you think of this journey? I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. If this changed your perspective or taught you something new, consider subscribing for more mind-expanding content. And if you know someone who would find this as fascinating as you did, share it with them. These are the kind of conversations that matter.